Hey there, hi there, ho there. Looks like everybody can see me. It looks like everybody can hear me. We're off to a good start. Off to a good start. My hair is looking like hair today. It's certainly doing something. Changed up the background a little bit as we're getting close to the end of April. So, how's everybody's week been? How did everybody's week go? And then yesterday was Saturday. Did anybody have any fun Saturday plans? I ended up doing a bunch of archery this week, and I modified my bow and, worked a little bit on this crochet project that I've been working on. I finally spread out, like, I've shown it to you on stream before. It's this giant, like, sun thing. And I finally spread it out on the floor so that I could take a picture and send it to my mother-in-law. And it's not even, God, I want to say maybe it's more than halfway finished now. Like, it's so huge, and I still have so much left to do. Let me see. Okay, the hook is still in it, which makes this a little bit tricky. But just, this is how big it is now. This is what we're working with at this point in the process. And it's getting ridiculous. And I'm genuinely nowhere near done. Like, there are so many rows left. So, that's kind of what's been going on with me as far as hobbies and personal projects. But yes, hello, Mama. What's up, Andes? Hello. What's up to the YouTube chat as well? The red-headed stepchild. Hair's looking magnificent. Thank you. I'm learning how to take care of it properly. I think it turns out that maybe shampoo isn't evil, and that mostly my problem was that I was drying my hair with a towel. I think that might have been most of my problem. Learning how to do... I thought that my hair was super straight for the longest time, but then I realized, like, why is it so frizzy and poofy constantly? And then I researched into it, and I learned that basically the only people with truly straight hair are, like, East Asians, and that if you're white, you probably have naturally wavy hair. It's just that we don't treat it correctly. So, anyway, I'm not trying to get on a whole hair tangent at the beginning of this. Did my last collab for the month yesterday. I've been working nonstop for the last couple weeks, so it's really nice to be done. High five. Yeah. I got a tarot reading today that was basically like, yo, you're overextending yourself massively and you need to have fewer problems. And I was like, girl, tell me something I don't know. Yeah, the blanket, it is consuming me. It's trying to eat me. Based tarot. Yeah. Oh, I guess it's exactly in the wrong place for my microphone boom arm thing to be covering it, but my tarot deck is right here. There's somewhere, I don't know. We're just gonna be working with that not being super visible. But yeah, changed up the decorations. Starting to think I need slightly different colors. We need slightly different colors. Is it even possible for green not to appear threatening? I mean, I feel like green's pretty threatening. But then what if this one was yellow? Maybe? Maybe this is a little bit more foresty and less, like, creepy? I don't know. We'll try it for a minute. Yes. It's been a good couple of days. Going on a run today. Worked on my channel yesterday. Nice. Good going. Where is the crochet trans egg now? It is in a box where I keep my smaller decorations, because that was part of the decoration for Ostara, or spring equinox. And now we're getting close to May Day, which is why there's a maypole, and there's a cauldron, and the tarot deck, and various other stuff. Anyway. What's up, Kitty Tick? Pretty good week, nothing too drastic. Got stuff for making edibles figured out. I for sure have a big ol' elderberry bush on the property. Ooh, nice. Puppy's doing well. Wife is very ready to not be pregnant anymore. Yeah. Wishing you good thoughts as far as the baby is concerned, for sure. Yes, thank you, Mersh. I did see that. Thank you very much. Oh my god, there are so many gnats in my house right now. Hey, I actually killed that one, though. Nice. the struggles of keeping plants in the house is that sometimes gnats happen. The non-aesthetic witch, what's up? Cassiopeia is a cool name. Getting ready to dye my hair later today. Nice. Ooh. I am, I think, done dyeing my hair, at least with any serious. Oh, by the way, hi, it's the beginning of the show. We chill and just kind of talk about whatever. We'll get to the news eventually, and also I don't really want to talk about the news today, so we don't have very much news to talk about. So mostly, we're gonna chill. Hit the like button before you leave if you're mostly here for politics. And hit the like button anyway. The more people I can get for chill streams, I think the happier I'll be, because it means that I'm not necessarily bound up in doing like fucking political content constantly. You know how it is. We're trying to move away from constant horror. Just absolute constant horror. Realized recently that my love for women is as deep as strong. Being as deep and strong as it is basically makes me more super straight towards them than super straights claim to be, which is double funny because I'm bi. Yes. I saw President Sunday cover your stream. It was awesome. I was there for a little while, okay? President Sunday, drama, 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 drama. President Sunday talked about my stream and the whole. He was basically just doing Poppy and Xena coverage in general. And I was actually there for a little bit of it. I was like hanging out in chat for a while. And then it got like, I don't know. I was not there for even half of it, I don't think. And I bailed because I was tired. But I've heard that it was a little bit problematic in some ways. I know President Sunday, while I was still there, questioned the legitimacy of Poppy's dissociative identity problem. And it's like, whether or not you personally agree or disagree with President Sunday, it's just not rhetorically a good idea to question her on that. And there's no point to, because whether it's real or whether she's faking it, it doesn't make a difference to like the material outcomes of the situation at all. So I do think that the coverage could have been better in that regard. But it's always nice when, my video sees a broader audience. And maybe, because I know that Sunday did not go over all of it, maybe that means that some more people are trickling in, going like, hey, President Sunday, you should have watched the whole video. Now I have to go watch the whole video. Like, yes, come watch the whole video. Yeah, it turns out constant horror is not good for the soul, actually. Yeah, so the problem is that I stream. There's still only 22 likes. I stream like twice a week, right? And then the editing process can sometimes take 2 or 3 days. So if I'm covering the horrors on Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday I'm editing, and then Wednesday I'm covering the horrors again, and then Thursday and Friday I'm editing, that means the only day I have off is Saturday. So I personally am going to be working a little bit on, like trying to focus on other things. So I have a little bit of a backlog of editing from earlier this week right now because, we did talk about the cast report already. We're doing a follow-up stream before I've published the main video. Part of the reason is because the editing was taking a long time. So here's something I've realized. I think that while I'm doing a segment, like while I'm recording a segment, I'm going to try to be a little bit better about sticking to the subject matter so that I don't actually have to go through and properly edit the content. Like, because basically right now I can, through Adobe's processes, I can just kind of in one bulk action delete all of the like pauses of a certain length. And then if I don't have any words that I need to remove, like if I get off topic or something, then I don't actually need to go through and double check like, ooh, are there any irrelevant segments? Are there any asides? Are there any donations that I should have ignored while I was doing the segment? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna try to spend as little time as possible actually reviewing the content. Ooh, yeah, backlog of editing on 3 scenes. Yeah, ooh, it's tough. And if you're working with multiple camera angles and everything, that's gotta be even more complicated. Cassiopeia says, can't believe this chick stole my name. Well, it's her last name technically. I think her name is like, what is it? It's like Heather? No, Hillary. It's Hillary Cass. I'm working on finishing up a song I made in honor of Next Benedict. That's really sweet. Yeah, such a tragic thing. And like the news goes on, and I've seen more images of dead children since then, and it's like, yeah. Why are all the worst people named Hillary? I don't know. It's a cursed name. Like, you know, there's a couple of, like, Jessica, I think is a little bit of a cursed name. Tessa? Tessa's a cursed name. Never met a Tessa I liked. Any hoozle. Evil playthrough name generator. Is Zoe okay? I think Zoe's are okay. Lauren mad cursed? Yeah, I could see it. J names are unilaterally cursed. So all J names. Okay. Hillary Duff is the only good Hillary. Is that even her real name? Zoe is every third trans girl. Zoe and Lily. Those are like the ones that you see a lot of. I've got personal beef with Rachel's. Everybody's got like one or two. Joanne, true. Luna. Well, that's good to hear, Mama. There's at least one uncursed Tessa in the world. Josh. Yup. Anyway, Siobhan. Siobhan? Really? I guess that's got to be specifically a culturally, like, UK, Great Britain type of stereotype. Personally, have never met a Chris who was a good person. Understandable. Justin. Deborah. Deborah. Oh, gosh. So, I want to talk a little bit about my bow for a minute. If you want to see the picture that I posted of my bow on my Patreon page, it's available for free members, I think. Or it's available for all members, or maybe just paid members. I don't know, but it's going to become public on Wednesday. So I've been posting more pictures and stuff on Patreon. And that includes like free content for just people if you want to just follow. And like maybe at some point, if you want to throw in like $1 a month or something, cool. It kind of sounds like you're using bow as a euphemism right now. No, my bow. I want to talk about archery, okay? I'm going to inflict all of my hobbies on you. That's how this works. You have to look at my bugs before the stream starts. And now, I'm going to talk about fucking, like, my garden. And I'm going to talk about my archery stuff. And when I start hunting, I'm going to talk about that shit. Yeah, I'm inflicting my hobbies on you. I'm going to continue talking about, like, working out and getting fit and stuff. Because I think, as a creator, I have the power to influence you people. So if I talk about stuff, you're more likely to do it as well. And if I think that my hobbies are a good thing, then you should do them too. I love archery. Yes. I've done it on and off for the whole of my life because of the Renaissance Festival, but I actually own a bow now. And I have been using it a bunch. I've been shooting like several times a week, and it's a pretty low weight bow. It's only like 20 pounds. So that means basically like you're pulling back 10 pounds and you're pushing forward 10 pounds if you're doing it right, really. So it's pretty lightweight bow. and I have started modifying it. So if you want to see pictures of the small modifications I've done on the bow, I added a strip of leather on each of the limbs, and then I also added basically a strip of rabbit fur wound around the string in two places. So the piece of leather is a string silencer, so that when the string snaps back against the limbs, because it's a recurve style bow, so the string sits like this against it and comes down. The bow comes like this and then curves back around down the other way. So it really like smacks into the bow right there. So I put a piece of leather there. And then the rabbit fur wound around the string is a vibration absorber, like a vibration damper for the string. So when I was shooting after making those modifications this week, oh my god, it was so quiet and like it did bring the vibrations down. I think I'm still not done modifying it. So if you want to comment over on the Patreon after you see it, if you're like, ooh, there, I can think of some cool things to add to it. Open to ideas. Don't talk about interesting things. I'm totally stuck here. No. Stealth times 100. Listen, exactly. Because I am eventually planning on like hunting with this bow. So if it's quiet and it doesn't like rattle my entire bones, man, that's good. That's a good call. The first law of Skyrim dynamics, all playthroughs eventually become a stealth archer. You know? Start learning about basic tracking methods, and always remember knowing how to climb a tree and get your scent posted up above the animals can help you a lot when preparing for hunting. Yeah, I did start, I'm like looking at videos about, you know, how to shoot without a sight and like how to, I'm gonna look into stuff like how to maintain your bow, how to make arrows, and like how to track the animals. When it comes to hunting rabbits, which is what I plan to do, I did watch a video about it, and it was basically just like, you just kind of tromp around the woods until you see a rabbit. And maybe you'll also see a squirrel while you're at it, but make sure it's squirrel season. But yeah, it's essentially you just like, there's basically no technique to tracking rabbits. They just are everywhere, which is why you're allowed to bag 10 of them per day. My biggest beef? Ooh, Crane makes a good point. My biggest beef is with any name conjured up by a millennial white woman. It always ends in EIGH to be unique, but they all do it. That or it's some obscure concept like eternity or something. Imagine being named Eternity. That would be funny. Do you plan on going for deer ever? Ever? Yeah, probably. So here's the thing. Thousands of cattle die every summer from it being too hot and too dry. That's going to continue happening as global warming continues to get warmer. So there's probably going to be a period of time in the future where like killing a deer and having that last for a while is probably going to be highly beneficial. So yeah, I can definitely see myself trending in that direction. But for now, I'm going to just hunt wabbits. I just hunt wabbits. I just had the thought of spelling Cassiopeia, P-E-I-G-H, and died inside. Yeah, true. You could also very easily just leave a pile of nuts and berries on the ground and shoot them on approach. Is that allowed? Is that technically, like, is baiting and stuff like that, is that, regulated as far as hunting goes? The poor bunnies, I know. There's so many of them, though. They are a pest. What about ducks? Okay, so here's my thing. I would much rather just keep chickens. Trapping is a type of hunting. Yeah, but they are regulated differently. Like, the rules are slightly different, I think. I watched one Lux vid and now I'm trans. True. I would much rather just grow chickens for meat and not hunt birds. I guess it's, having like a variety of protein choices is good. But I've never had duck before. Maybe I just need to eat duck. I know where I can get a hold of some duck meat. So maybe I just need to try duck. But it's like different than chicken pretty substantially. So it's like a totally different kind of thing that I've never had before. What's the best way to cook duck? Duck is actually delicious. Duck is quite greasy. Honestly, I hate duck too bland. Okay. Duck is delicious. All right, we've got 2 votes for delicious. I don't like the oiliness. Okay. So it's greasy. It can be delicious when done right. Peking duck. Make a turducken? Absolutely not. No. I'll do turkey once a year for, the holiday, but... Duck curry, possibly. I'll just have to look up some like recipe of like how to cook duck in like some how do the French people do it, Like let's go French cuisine with this. And then we'll find out if I like duck or not. And then that will be the decision on whether I hunt duck or not. There is a crow season, but I think you would be out of your mind if you hunted crows. I think you would be out of your goddamn mind. What about hog? We don't really have that problem here where I live. But yeah, the crows will get you back. Don't they force feed the duck until it dies? That is only for foie gras. Like if it's really deliberately to fatten up the liver. So if you buy foie gras, then those ducks were likely force fed. But just eating duck in general, that's not like a normal practice. I've heard duck is very fatty in a not good way, so would not suggest depending on it as a source of meat. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Coffee. Coffee is good for you. It's delicious. Let's see. What else have I been doing lately? Aside from just becoming more proficient with a deadly weapon. It's like it's one of the weirdest things. I could probably just live off my fat for a couple weeks. That's not a healthy way to lose weight. But in a survival situation, listen, that's why we are able to store fat, is because, we fatten up during the summer, and then during the winter, there's not as much availability of food. You slim down. Just checked, and you are allowed to use lures and box traps year-round in Kansas. Okay, cool. I also don't think there's a specific bow hunting season for rabbits. I think that's just a thing for deer and other big game. Like there's a specific season where you're allowed to do archery hunting for deer, but I think I don't know with rabbits if it matters at all. I still need to do a hunting class though before I can start hunting, and also I would kind of actually rather have a heavier bow. I mean, I can hunt rabbits with my 20-pound, but I think it would be a little bit more effective and satisfying with a slightly heavier bow. In middle school, they taught us archery with an actual bow and actual arrows. I have no idea how they allowed that in 2016. Well, okay, so you say actual arrows, but frankly, target arrows have like a fairly blunt tip. Like, yes, if you shot them at someone, it would probably poke a nice little hole, but it's only the width of the arrow, and it comes to like a fairly blunt point. It's like made for going into targets. It's not made for like, it's not a broadhead. Like a broadhead is 2 very sharp edges in this V shape, and it like is made to penetrate. So yeah, if you're just doing like little dinky, a middle school kid could pull it back bow with arrows with target tips, like you're not going to be able to do very much. Rabbits, hares, and squirrels are year-round here. Squirrels are only in the last half of the year, I read. Squirrel season starts in like June or July maybe. But rabbits are year-round. I think you need a minimum draw weight for hunting deer. Oh, no, absolutely. I think there's like, I think at a minimum you'd want a 45-pounder for hunting deer. Like minimum. Because you're having to do quite a penetration with that. What about field points? What are they? I've heard of them before. I know that they distribute deer hunting tags. So it's interesting. You get the hunting license. You have your main hunting license, and you end up like also having to get a special license per deer. So because they don't want to kill like all the deer, you're only allowed to hunt a certain number of them total. So they distribute like how many people are allowed to kill which deer or whatever. Like, so as a person who has a hunting license, I would then also get, okay, I want to shoot one deer this year. And they allocate the permission to get tags for deer basically based on like field points, which is like how many you've caught previously or something. I don't know. It is still really crazy considering they gave a bunch of angry children deadly weapons. You know, there's valuable lessons to be had. There's valuable lessons to be had there. Squirrels taste good deep fried. I've heard that rabbit deep fried is really good. Basically, if you're going to cook rabbit, it needs to be either deep fried or in a stew. What is the target arrow? I mean, it's like I said, so it's like this shape, but like round all the way around. So it has a little bit of a tip, but it's a pretty rounded tip. So it's like this, and then it's just super round. Archery is a good gateway activity to other topics like history, physics, and math. True. Okay, so yeah, because I'm watching like the evolution of medieval archery. So I'm like learning about history because I'm interested in archery. Have you tried rattlesnake? No. I've never eaten snake before. That sounds fascinating. I don't know if we're allowed to hunt snakes. I feel like they have a lot of bones, so if I could eat something, I would rather it not be that. I did find it amusing that my TTI school, I don't know what that means, would not let us do stuff like archery, but let us use power tools and stuff. No razors, but chef's knives were fine. True. Do you have bears in Kansas? Not really. We sometimes have mountain lions here, and we have coyote, but we do not really have bears. That's going to be a fun thing to transition to. I'm going to move out west, and they're going to have bears all of a sudden, and mountain lions, and probably coyote. Actually, do they have coyotes? Kitty Tick, do you have coyotes in Oregon? I feel like you have to. You have bears and mountain lions and coyotes? That's a lot of predators. Do you have wolves out there? I'm like, I know someone in chat lives in Oregon, and I'm just like, hey, you person who lives in Oregon. Oh, Troubled Teen Institute. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, a school that is also a prison, more than the average one. Coyotes are in all 49 continental states. Okay, cool. Yeah, I figured there were a lot of them. If you go camping in bear country, don't underestimate the importance of moving food away from camp at night. My partner and I have discussed this a little bit, and I think we both have agreed that we're not really camping people very much. Like, we're more likely to go somewhere and stay in a hotel and then, like, go hiking and enjoy, like, a day camping situation and then return to the hotel room. So, no need to worry about me getting attacked by a bear at night. I prefer a cabin. I think a cabin could work. I would be okay with a cabin. Find a campsite with a bear pole? What is a bear pole? Hit the like button if you don't know what the fuck a bear pole is. Are there wolves over on the west coast, or is that mostly like more like in the like Rocky Mountain range? Because I know that there's wolves in like Montana, but I don't know if they range all the way out to like Washington. Coyotes ended up spreading out during the attempt to exterminate them in the Southwest. Coyote have crazy fast evolution and adaptation and have spread out to fill fox and small wolf niches. A bear pole is for putting up your food at night. Okay. Oh, I'm guessing it's just like you winch your food all the way up to the top of the pole. Hello, Olive. Welcome in. Good to see new subscribers coming in. Wolves are in parts of Oregon, but not out on the coast. They're more like Idaho. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So it's a big pole with a pulley system, and there's a sack, and you put your food in the sack, and then it just takes it up. Okay, cool. That's neat. To where the bears can't reach it, and probably can't really smell it very much either. I do think there are, like, places I would like to visit. I'm so glad that it only takes, like, a 2-hour trip. Did I miss the convo? No. We're still in the first, like, 45 minutes of the stream, so we're still shooting the shit. I'm gonna meander my fucking way to the cast report, okay? I'm tired of the anti-trans politics, so I'm gonna take my sweet-ass time getting around to it. But yeah, I had been getting the hankering, like, ooh, I haven't gone on a road trip in a little bit. And then we just visited a friend who lives like 2 hours away, and now I feel better. If you're gonna live in the woods, find a 40 to 80 pounds dog to be your best friend, because they really do help keep animals away. Yeah, when I'm imagining a situation where, okay, I'm like growing food and I'm raising chickens and potentially raising rabbits and stuff, there have to be 2 dogs. At least 2 dogs, right? And like probably some cats as well. Like cats that don't have names. Like a Pyrenees. Pyreneeses are really good outdoor dogs. Gotta shave them during the summer, but at least they can keep themselves warm in the winter. Great Pyrenees, exactly. Yes. I came face to face with a coyote recently. I think I had a dream about coming face to face with a coyote recently. That's strange. Yeah, cats and dogs are important. Yeah, I mean, if you want to keep the wild rabbits away from your fucking garden, and there's gonna be moles as well as mice. Hello, interesting, because like this sort of lifestyle is so far from my ideal life and what I am used to. In Hawaii, where I'm from, wild boar, the black ones, are everywhere, and there's a huge hunting culture. Nice. So I'm from like the Midwest, which it is basically like the South, but not quite as bad. Like I live in Kansas, so there is a hunting culture, but there are fairly liberal places here where, you know, liberal type people get all grossed out by hunting, and you know, there's like a growing culture of vegetarianism and veganism and all this. So yeah, the Southwest Midwest, basically, yeah. I thought that the coyote was just a dog. Yeah. Pick a breed that is still a working animal where it is from. I guess I don't know. So there's different kinds of dogs too. If you have animals that need to be herded, then obviously you need a herding dog. And then if you have like the big Pyrenees or whatever, that dog is mostly just to be big enough to scare off a bigger animal, you know? Like, and then they work together. Do you get coyotes, see many coyotes in Kansas? Of course, I don't really see very many coyotes, but you hear them pretty often. Pyrenees is a herding dog. Looks like a sheep, kills a wolf. Exactly. I would get a Malamute, because they seem like such hilarious dogs. Yeah, watch out for ticks. No shit. I got a really hot piece of advice recently. I was asking someone, how do you prevent ticks from getting in your yard if you're trying to do a permaculture thing? Because this requires letting certain parts of your yard be a little bit shaggy and messy so that, for example, the bees have a place to overwinter. And, other bugs that are desirable. So how do you prevent ticks from getting in? Well, the secret that this lady gave me was, if you have a yard, then just keep the very edges of your yard super clean, so that things can't easily get into, and like keep the shaggier parts of your yard in the middle, so that, yeah, it's just less likely that you're gonna get unwanted animals in there. Within most breeds, there's a genetic work line and then the show line, which are of course genetically super different. The work line dogs tend to be healthier. Oh, yeah, of course, for sure. Funny enough, Dalmatian is a herding dog. Recommend an animal with 2 to 3 breeds in it, because it helps stabilize for health issues, especially in larger breeds. True. Guinea fowl eat ticks? Guinea fowl. So what, guinea fowl, you grow them like you grow chickens, yeah? Like it's for eating, but they're smaller. Like making a moat to separate your base from the encroaching biomes in Terraria. Yeah, I never really got into Terraria, but that does sound like it's similar. I'm getting guinea fowl this summer, hopefully. Yes, that's very exciting. BRB gotta plant my chickens. I know, I keep saying it weird, like I'm growing chickens. They're growing themselves and I'm just providing them with a safe place and food. Guinea fowl look like little dinosaurs? Wait, what? Guinea fowl. Okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. They do look a little bit like dinosaurs. Cute. They look fat, but I bet they're small. How much do they usually weigh? I don't know, it doesn't matter. But that's fun. They also have fun eggs. Ooh. Guinea fowl, you just raise them like chickens. I raised them for 10 years, but they are noisy. Ugh. The noise. And peacocks? What are peacocks good for? Are just eating them and taking their eggs? Guinea fowl are a good guard dog notifier. Yeah, true. Eggs and feathers. Feathers! Hello, Baphomet. Welcome in. There are 69 viewers, but we're nowhere near 69 likes. How dare. That's not very nice. Going to a rave in half an hour. Have fun. Peacocks are pretty good to eat, too, when they're getting old. Fun. You're going to a picnic, not a rave. All right, Baphomet, are you okay? No, I'm not. Okay, well. Take care of that. I don't know. Oh, goodness gracious. Peacocks are entertaining, however, they can damage your cars. Yeah, the peacocks would not be free range. I'm just gonna keep things simple, y'all. It's good to know that guinea fowl will eat ticks. I think that that might be a good reason to keep them around. Or at least like, okay, I'm gonna let them loose temporarily on certain areas, and then hopefully they will eat them. But I also have chickens. Like, I bet chickens will eat ticks, too. Chickens are good for eggs and feathers. I knew real life was just like Minecraft. I was asking about the peacocks. Like, what are peacocks good for? I guess you could keep the chicken feathers. I don't know what for. But that's the homestead life. It's like the mindset is like, what do I... So I'm gonna get rid of this chicken and I have all these feathers. Is that just trash or am I gonna use it for something? I was gonna have a 420 party yesterday, but my friends had to cancel. Sag, I'm so sorry. See, I think, what, did I have something else that I'd been doing this week that I was like, oh yeah, this is another fun thing that we could talk about? I'm trying to find more of those opportunities. I'm gonna start doing, like, I think I'm gonna prescribe myself a period of time during the day where I'm supposed to just be bored and not look at my phone and, like, not read, because you know, you just need to sometimes exist in your brain and, like, look around your body, and maybe you'll find in that moment the motivation to, like, pick up something that you dropped on the floor. Oh my god, dropped on the floor a couple days ago. My god. That was such a weird, like, hiccup burp situation. But yeah, like, prescribing myself some boredom time. Yeah, boredom is supposed to be good for you. It's not mindfulness time, because I do think there are, like, of course there are benefits to doing mindfulness. There's been clinical research that shows that if you do approximately an hour of mindfulness activity per day for 6 weeks, the size of your amygdala will reduce somewhat, which is like the part of your brain that makes you do fight or flight. So it reduces your functional, like, physical anxiety to do mindfulness. So it's good to do that. But that's different than letting yourself be bored. Like, certainly you will, you know, it'll end up being an I'm present in the moment kind of situation, but that's not the goal. It's not the same. Mindfulness also great for OCD. I don't know what you're referring to, Mama Mephistopheles. The pussy lobe? What? Feathers can be used as insulators when laid correctly, and the keratin preserves well if you put salt in with them. But what do you use the keratin for? Oh no. Why are you sending me a Vosh link? No. Oh, okay, so Vosh has referred to the amygdala as the, quote, pussy lobe. Which I guess because it's the part of your brain that makes you scared? Presumably? It's the part of the brain that makes you a pussy? I don't know. Feathers are safe to compost like hair. Okay, that's good to know. I don't know. I wonder if people use chicken feathers to make, fletchings. Of course, I would circle this back around to archery, but, like, you know, the arrow has, like, the feathers on the end. I bet you could use chicken feathers. That'd be interesting. Hmm. Yeah, go ahead and eat the feathers to start a bezoar. True. The benefits of therapy, y'all. I mean, you don't even need to be in therapy to do mindfulness, but mindfulness is very therapeutic. And it gets a bad rep. People are like, well, I can't do meditation. And it's like, what do you mean you can't do meditation? There's, like, at least 20 different subcategories of ways that you can meditate. I wish my brain would make me a pussy. Don't got that kind of cash on hand. True. Put your mind over matter, or whatever, I guess, question mark. Listen, if you haven't taken a drink of water since the start of stream, like I haven't, then maybe take a moment to drink some water, you know? Sub-only links, sorry, or sub-only emojis. Just materialize it into existence, easy peasy. Anyone ever get a really shitty pack of fruit gushers that don't gush? Those are, I think they're usually old, you know? Hey, Nikki Valentine is a hell of a name. Good going. I like to meditate by goldfishing magic decks. somebody saying I can't meditate is usually a good sign that they need to practice the skills involved in it. Like, there are so many different ways to do meditation. They expire on Christmas this year. I mean, don't those candies last for like years? That seems like maybe it is old by now. I am successfully losing weight a little bit. I thought it was kind of stalling out for a minute, and maybe it kind of was, but I'm just like, I'm doing a cut right now because I bulked last year, and I ended up like continuing to gain weight past the point at which I was still building a lot of muscle. So now I'm doing a cut, and it's going really well. And it's pretty simple. I'm not trying too hard. Just keeping things regular. It's relatively easy to attain those goals if you just keep things moving in that direction. I hit 200 for the first time ever. Listen, that some people like have gain weight on purpose. So I'm gonna say, like, you know, that's some people's goals out there. I lost too much, so I'm eating hella nuts to gain it back. It's going okay, good. Then you'll crush watermelons between your biceps. How does that work? Between my bicep and my forearm? We haven't gotten any donations today, so I'm not going to be able to flex for you, possibly. That's the dono goal. If we get to 100 dono goal today, I will flex. And if we get to $100 dono goal every time I stream, which is twice a week, then I would make $200 a week. The egg bicep video, I haven't seen it. Oh, gosh. Yeah, Lux Thembo Arc Progress Pog. I am definitely in pursuit of the like muscle mommy kind of thing. Like, the hair is only gonna get longer. I do need to cut the sides though. Like, I might actually just fucking do that after the show today, because it's getting annoying. But my hair in the back that I'm growing out is like not quite long enough to just put it in a ponytail and get it completely out of the goddamn way. So, but I think that maybe the secret is that I need to start in the back and like, instead of starting in the front. That way, by the time my hands get tired, I can at least see what I'm doing still. Yeah, the goal is crushing melons with my nut power. Gotta overcompensate for being a dude whose balls never dropped somehow, you know? True. I have never really considered that the goal might be to squish a watermelon between my legs. I guess that's an option. Muscle Mommy Gang, rise up. I'm finally seeing visible progress on my abs, which is really nice after all this work. Yeah, so I am not working out properly right now. Like, I'm doing cardio, so I'm just, that's my entire focus right now is cardio. And when I get back to my target weight, I'm going to start lifting for the purpose of building muscle again. But in the meantime, I'm also doing basically physical therapy on my lower back. Are you a person with low back pain? Most human beings are. I looked up a bunch of videos of like basic physical therapy stuff that you can do. So I'm actually working on strengthening my lower back now because I had ignored it for such a long time. And in working my low back, I'm going to inevitably be working my abs. So basically, I'm doing a lot of core work while doing this cardio. Hey, do you do deadlifts? So I did deadlifts, and that's what I injured my lower back doing in like 2017. And then I just stopped using my low back like at all because it would hurt when I used it. And I learned later that, of course, the thing that you're supposed to do is gentle exercise to rehabilitate the muscle. So instead, my low back is just weak AF because I just have refused to use it. So I am going to start now doing those kinds of things. Probably not ever going to do deadlifts, though. Like, I just don't need to do deadlifts. I don't think that I'm ever going to do that. I really, really effed it up that one time, and it's put me off from doing it. Lower back pain is fake propaganda made up by big lumbar pillow. True. They're trying to sell those lumbar pillows. You can just roll up a fucking towel and put it behind your back. There's 78 people in here. Can we get to 69 likes today? I need to start getting back into shape. Listen, here's my thing. Here's some wisdom that I'm going to impart to you all right here, right now. You will probably have a better, easier time actually getting yourself to get back in shape if you start viewing it as a thing that you want to do for yourself. Like, I want to have big muscular arms and shoulders, and I want to have a thick muscular back. Like, I will work out my lower body because I want to be kind of even, but my goal isn't to have like shredded, thick, big muscles in my legs, you know? I would rather have my legs be like sturdy, muscular, but then like also have a little bit of fat on them, right? So like I have an ideal goal that I'm working my way toward because I want to. And I think that it makes a big difference because if you're saying I need to, there's this element of shame. There's this element of I should be different, you know? And I just think that that's probably something that we want to try to be mindful of and perhaps consider restructuring the way that we think about these things. You know, maybe it is true on some level that you need to get into shape because we all, you know, want to live longer. And if you have the cardio, you'll live longer and whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you have a better diet, you'll have better health, blah, blah, whatever. Like, yeah. So you could say, oh, well, technically I do need to, but is that framework really helping you get started? You know? Dance ball watching the stream, true. What's up, hyperbolic? If my ex and me are having a bad argument right now, I'm happy to say that my daughter doesn't have to go to a religious kindergarten now. Big W. The argument is unrelated to that. It's hard raising children. Yeah, co-parenting is rough. I'm in group therapy. Listen, I'm proud of you for being in group therapy, getting the help for your depression, and I'm glad that you're working things out with your spouse, even if things are still quite contentious. You know, it's like, I had this moment recently where I was like, okay, I was trying to accomplish a certain goal in a conversation. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable. I'm trying to move things in a direction that I'm like, okay, I'm improving things. The conversation ended up not going the way I was hoping it to in some ways. But like, if my main goal was to communicate what I wanted, then I succeeded and that conversation was a success, right? So like, you know, even if you and your ex are like arguing still about something else, you know, things might not be great, but you are at least, you know, getting your goals achieved by, you know, your kid doesn't have to go to a religious school now. Happy Sunday. Hello, Violet. Welcome in. I don't know what an own cast instance is, Pink Creeper. I threw my back out squatting once and it was months before I did it again. Yeah, and it actually hurts my back to do squats as well, unless I'm doing sumo squats with my legs and like my knees pointed really far. If I try to do squats like this, it aggravates that injury. So I actually need to strengthen my back enough so that I can do those regular squats again as well. Thank you, Mama. Coming in clutch, says 100% correct. I didn't enjoy exercise at all until I accepted that my real motivation is to be really hot. Fear of being seen as vain makes us avoid acknowledging that and say it's, oh, all about health, but we're human beings and it's okay to want to like how your body looks. Listen, yeah, like I'm doing cardio, which is reducing the symptoms. Hey, 69 likes. Nice. Good job. Thank you. I've been doing cardio and that is helping the symptoms of my heart condition. I have POTS. But like I didn't start doing cardio so that I would have better heart health. I started doing cardio. Well, I guess I did start doing cardio like last year, mostly for heart health or like mostly for mental health reasons. But this time I'm going hard on cardio and I'm, you know, my heart health is really dramatically increased, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to lose weight. Like I'm trying to trim the fat off the edges here, you know? Kelsey, thank you so much for the $10 Canadian. It's going to take that a minute to come through. But that translated into USD is $8.22. Thank you very much for that donation. Much appreciated. There was a brand new news story that Aaron posted just now that I added to stream chat. What is it? I'm being bad today, and I am frankly very much avoiding the news. But I guess we might have to talk about this. Greg Abbott, who's the governor in Texas, says he, quote, wants to end trans and gender nonconforming teachers. Like, he wants to make it to where they can't teach anymore. Which is cool, because I actually know a trans person who's a teacher in Texas. Scary stuff. Does cardio count if you are in place? Have you tried the infinity hoop? I usually sit down and do, like, the recumbent bike. So you're kind of, like, leaned back a little bit, because if I lean forward, that triggers my heart to do weird shit. Low back pain since childhood turns out hypermobility. I now know the right exercises, and I'm not doing the ones that hurt me in karate and gym classes. Thank God for diagnosis and PT. Yeah, I just am assuming that I have a connective tissue problem, but yeah. Nice wings. Thank you. They're so cute. My face is itchy because my hair... I have all these little flyaways. I was losing hair from stress for such a long time, and also from, like, running my fingers through it all the time, and I'm trying not to as much, so my hair is starting to grow back, but that means that I have a lot of hair that's about this long and is curly. So it's, like, getting in my face. I like sumo squats more because it works the side of your quads, too. Yeah, I just want to have the option to do more than just that. If I had unlimited money, I would get one of those omnidirectional VR treadmills. Those suckers are way outside my price range. Yeah, you just, like, you put on the headset, and then you just can, like, run in any direction, right? So, I think that would be fun. I did want to say, someone in the chat recommended a video not too long ago, and I watched it, and it ended up being really good. It was from this channel... let me find it. I'm gonna go to my history and figure it out. The video is called... Stop. The video is called The Fascism of Common Sense, and it's by M. Burkles. And it was really good. She only has, like, 17,000 subscribers. Like, y'all should go give her a like and a subscribe. I gave her a like and a subscribe after I watched this video. It was really good. Highly recommend you check it out. I just watched that yesterday. Her channel slaps. Yeah, I had never seen anything else from her, but I'm subscribed now. And I might continue. Like, the dedication it takes to do full scripted video essays for only 17,000 subscribers. Man, I cannot imagine putting that much work for, like, a tiny, tiny channel. Wow. It's just all the research and everything, and the writing takes forever. The channel was called just M. Burkles, but you'll probably find it from the video title, which is The Fascism of Common Sense. I've got a recumbent trike, which I haven't used in ages. Hopefully we'll go cycling this year. Yeah, I like the idea of having a bicycle, but even in relatively bike-friendly places, there's still a lot of hostility from car drivers. I think it's predicated on that concept that when you see someone behaving more morally than you are, you get defensive. So I think, you know, people who are in cars, or frankly, it's usually people in trucks, who, like, will scare bicyclists by, like, swerving near them, or they'll, like, bump into them, or just hit them, like... Yeah, so I love the idea of getting around by bike, but it would have to be in a place where there's a very, very strong bike culture. I'm in the UK. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. it is pretty interesting that it's like if you want to make the decision to switch to being a bike commuter instead of a car commuter, that like violence from people is one of the considerations you have to make. Interesting. By the way, big hugs for all my fellow trans family in the UK. Can't imagine how hard the last couple weeks has been. Truly, it's been so wild. God, do I even have anything specific ready to talk about the Cass reneging? Was that like did Aaron post about it or something? Yeah, I think it was Aaron. Yeah, it's weird how mad people get at cyclists. And honestly, so I will say, obviously, vegans can be annoying and vegetarians can be annoying, but I think that the amount of hate that they get as a group is probably disproportionate, and I think that it is because of the like sense that someone else is morally judging you for eating meat. Like they're annoying because they're right. I don't think they're right on all counts. What's up, Decoy Duck? I think that they're right about some things, but like I don't think that you need to be a vegan in order to be against factory farming. Like I'm completely content with hunting and raising my own animals and killing them and like cooking them. I don't have a problem with that. I do think that industrialized agriculture is really messed up in a lot of ways. Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today, Kelsey. Okay, let me see. What did she... Cass review. Okay, Dr. Cass backpedals from review and says HRT blockers should be made available. Interesting. My jaw is so weird. You could watch the Majority Report on Thursday because they talked about the Cass report with Aaron Reed. That's a good point. We could do that. Doesn't necessarily have to be part of a segment for us to talk about it. Neurotic Canary, fucked up jaw gang. Yeah. Gwen, my jaw is fucked up, and I'm also in the process of trying to correct. I realized recently that I have the old lady hump right at the top of my spine. Or I guess it's not the top of my spine. The top of my spine would be in my skull, but like that place where your spine becomes your neck. I realized I have that like weird hump there, so I'm doing all kinds of stretches and like posture work to try to like correct that. So yeah, I'm hoping that like I'm hoping that you know strengthening the muscles and fixing the alignment in my neck will like help my jaw. I'll play devil's advocate. I'm a vegan. If there was no factory farming, there are not enough huntable animals to feed human meat lust. Did I say that we would transition from agricultural, like, did I say that we would switch from industrialized factory farming to a hunting only situation? No. It's like I've repeatedly said that I would grow my own chickens and rabbits and maybe fish, and then I would hunt venison, maybe hunt rabbit. Actually, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could do both. You could hunt rabbit and raise rabbit. I mean, yeah, you probably want to keep hunting rabbits because they're still pests, but yeah. Yeah, I keep saying grow my own chickens, and I'm not going to stop saying it, because I've decided that I think that it's endearing, that I keep doing it by mistake. Yeah. Like, I think that small-scale agriculture is a good thing, and that hunting is a good thing. I do 10 minutes of yoga every day, so much better than an hour a week. Gotta ration my motivation. I just do the little stretches and stuff, like, usually in the morning. My ex-wife is vegan and was annoying trying to make me one. It was like trying to convert me to a faith. Listen, if you're a vegan and you have such a big problem with it that you pester all the people in your life about it, don't marry someone who you're going to be like having fundamental moral opposition with about this subject. Like, yes, it limits your dating pool severely, but you can't be fucking annoying about it all the time. I think that vegans IRL are basically normal people. I'm sure that vegans that you meet in the real world like do not represent that minority of vegans who are annoying about it online. Yeah, it makes sharing meals harder. Like for the entirety of your relationship, you're gonna have to make 2 dinners, or you're gonna have to functionally accept a vegan lifestyle for at least some of the time. Like, no, oh my god. Yeah, every vegan I've met in reality has been super chill. I totally think that, like, all these different things. There are conservatives out there who've genuinely, earnestly had a lot of negative interactions with trans people, for example, online, because trans people online are fucking mean. But like, that's a minority. Like the total number of trans people, like most of them are not chronically online. And then, oh, of course, if you meet a trans person in person as a conservative, you end up being like, okay, well, you're a lot less mean and crazy than the trans people that I've talked to online. Excuse me. My stepdad has celiacs, and my mom accepted that she'd be eating a lot of gluten-free food as a result. When I lived with someone with a peanut allergy, I simply did not eat peanuts. Yeah. I think if I lived with someone with a peanut allergy, but I wasn't, like, dating them, that I would probably just keep peanut butter in my room and eat peanut butter in my room. And then I'm not, like, kissing them, so I don't think I would feel like I need to not eat it at all. Mostly the vegans I meet in real life just want to share their recipes and the cool hole-in-the-wall restaurants they've found. Yes. The only annoying vegan I know, IRL, isn't annoying because they are a vegan. They just get like that around all topics they're passionate with. Totally. Food is very social. My wife and I are a mixed veggie and not veggie relationship. It works out, and the goat gets my scraps because he's veggie too. The chickens get her scraps because they're omnivores. Listen, if you can make it work. I think vegetarianism and veganism are a little bit far apart. Like, vegans tend to be, because they're more stringent about their limitations, like, first of all, it's harder to share meals. Because you could easily, like, cook up a meal and, like, one part of it, like, maybe the meal has cheese, or maybe the meal has, like, eggs in it. And then you could just have, like, okay, some meat that gets incorporated into one person's part of the meal after it's finished. Yeah, vegans don't eat any animal products. So, like, you can't cook things in butter. Veganism is not a diet, vegetarian is. I'm gonna have to dispute that. A veganism is a type of diet, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a diet. It's about what you eat, is a diet. It's not like a weight loss diet. A weight loss diet is a specific thing, but any, like, even if you eat only fucking Oreos, that's still like a diet. It's just a bad diet. I grapple with the milk and veal industry every day, mostly because I'm mad at the rich. Also a lifestyle. I mean, I think any type of diet is a lifestyle. Just because we think of an omnivorous lifestyle as the default doesn't mean that that isn't a lifestyle choice. I know that Oreos are vegan, yes. Yeah, vegetarians don't eat meat, but I know that they will sometimes eat like eggs, and they usually will eat butter and cheese. They make gluten-free Oreos now. Listen, you can be living the lifestyle eating only Oreos. Yeah, the question of honey. People, there are debating different opinions on this. Like, is honey a vegan product or no? My personal opinion is that the bees can leave whenever they want, so honey is vegan. Vegans are also generally opposed to wearing animal clothes. Yeah, they get upset about leather and fur and stuff. Food, 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 food. Yeah, some people become vegan for health needs. Some people are like allergic to certain proteins in meat, you know? And they're like, okay, I want to reduce, like, oh, my dad had colon cancer and I want to reduce my chance of getting colon cancer, so I'm cutting out red meat. Like, there's all kinds of very legitimate reasons, from moral through health reasons. Yeah, of course, there's always the question when you're talking about veganism, like, are the alternative products actually less harmful? Like, creating faux leather, like, it's just plastic, so it harms the environment in a way that, like, damages everyone, whereas killing individual animals for their leather is, like, arguably less harmful on average. And then there's, like, you know, oh, all these vegan protein alternatives. Well, they are sometimes grown using like human exploitation. Like, oh, are you vegan and you're really into eating cashews? Guess what? Cashews are largely harvested by exploited workers who are not provided with adequate protection for their hands. And the fruit of the cashew is like caustic and basically causes like chemical burns on your hands. So, personally, I, as a person who relishes eating meat, I thoroughly enjoy eating meat. I am going to stop eating cashews probably. Like, I might legitimately like buy um like just peanuts, like, because every time you get a mixed nuts, it's gonna have cashews in it. So maybe I'm gonna buy individual types of nuts. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy peanuts, or I'm gonna buy walnuts or something. Like, but yeah. So the personally for me, the human exploitation is something that I'm like, I am definitely gonna reduce my consumption of this product. And like, almonds are heinously water wasteful, of course. Yeah. Uh, and like, yeah, if I could afford to buy from like independent butchers who know the people who raise the animals, like, that would be ideal for sure. I would like to move toward that model in my life. Yeah, no ethical consumption under capitalism, and you are allowed to care about your species more than others. Like, you know, and like, I'm not saying I'm supporting factory farming as usual. That just is the primary means by which food ends up in the places where I'm able to get food. Honey is much more ethical than sugar. Oh yeah, is sugar still made with a lot of human exploitation, like cane sugar? That's fascinating. Veganism is about animal consent, I think. Like, chickens will peck their own eggs for the calcium. We don't have to collect them necessarily. Honey is bee non consent to work and goods. I mean, if they didn't like that you were taking their honey, they could leave, you know? McAfee, the internet security guy, like the McAfee software guy, famously was rumored to have had sex with a whale. And then when he was critiqued for not getting the consent of the whale, he said, enough of this whole whale fucking is non-consensual thing. A humpback whale weighs 70,000 pounds, is 50 feet long, can dive more than a quarter mile, and can crush ships with a single swipe of its tail. If a human manages to have sex with one, you better believe it was consensual on the part of the whale. Like, yeah, there's no forcing them to do anything. Did not realize that this was where the topic was gonna be. Yeah, so he didn't deny it. True. I've been put down verbally for wearing a vintage suede jacket. And that's always been interesting because this thing was made way before I was born. Better than a newly made plastic jacket, I thought. Yeah. Like if I buy leather shoes, they're gonna last longer than like the plastic shoes. Like a leather jacket that was made before you were born, a fur coat that was made before you were born. Not gonna lie, I just had breakfast and was not prepared for things going this direction. Suffer with me. I don't know what I'm gonna eat for lunch later. I'm still mulling it over. Used is always the most ethical option. Yeah. The real problem with bees is that bringing them over to the Americas, they essentially wiped out all the natural pollinators. Yeah, I mean, you're doing what you can at this point with what you've got. I would love to foster certain species of wasps. Like, they're amazing to have around, good pollinators. Yeah, rumor has it that the famous picture of the Loch Ness Monster was actually just a whale dink. Whale dink. I wish wasps weren't such assholes. You know, they're always real nice to me. So I don't know, skill issue maybe? They're always super cool to me. I sort of think that even though we humans are animals, we have the ability to change nature around us, which changes the rules a little bit. I don't see nature as supreme, but I do think we need to respect and protect it. Here's something. I saw a video cross my timeline earlier of a guy who was like, "Ooh, we're hunting a deer in the cold." And it was kind of like it made it look like it was going to hype it up, like, "Ooh, this is like an action entertainment like the purpose of this video is not to teach you how to track a deer. This video is supposed to titillate you and be entertainment." I find that distasteful. I'm a person who would be willing to hunt a deer, and I will watch a video about how to track and hunt, and I've already watched videos about how to clean deer and take all their parts into usable steaks and stuff. But I would not be interested in watching a video that's like meant to be exciting and entertaining in that way. Like I think that's distasteful. So I do personally have like my limits and you know, yeah, like hunting for sport is weird. Yeah. I think, hunting for the purpose of like saving money and making sure that the population stays and like the eventuality where red meat is hard to get a hold of in the store. Like, yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. 78 people here just listening to me talk about hunting and veganism and ethics and stuff. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Definitely makes the show an interesting place to be. Yeah, whale penis, of course. Why would I need to use all parts of the animal? Like, I don't really have... I'm not like... This isn't, like, pre-Bronze Age. I don't need to use the bones for, like, tools. There are animals which will eat the bones. like returning them to nature is part of the process as well. Like I'm gonna leave the guts in the woods and bury them, you know what I mean? Like ugh. Excuse me. Also hate taxidermy. Not the biggest fan of taxidermy. Yes, there's bugs. You see these bugs? They like to eat bones. They eat bones. My bestie almost broke up with her boyfriend because he went shark fishing, towed the shark out of the water for a photo, just to then throw it back in the water. Like, leave the shark alone, dude. Yeah, like, you could have just signed up for a scuba diving class and swam with a shark and gotten, like, a video or a photo of you with the shark. But no, it's about your conquest. God, what do you mean she almost broke up with him? Oh yeah, I guess that's fair. Yes, certain countries use all parts of the animal, like they use the bones for soup stock, and the guts are edible. It depends on what parts of the. Yeah, like I do think, for example, again, if I'm in the hypothetical situation where I'm like raising chickens and I have dogs, like I will probably not eat the hearts and the livers and stuff and the lungs, but like, oh man, that would be great food to give to the dogs. Absolutely. Not only sometimes with the liver though. You got to be careful with the liver with toxicity. But yeah, or like, oh yeah, I'll throw the liver, literally like throw the livers back to the chickens. No, I wouldn't do that. That's a little bit too weird for me. But yeah, so like yeah, and bone. Yeah, I cut up a chicken recently. I cut up some chickens because I was like, maybe it's gonna be cheaper to buy chicken in like the whole format and then just butcher it down. So I've done that, and then you end up with this carcass, and yeah, it's amazing to just put that in for soup stock. Yeah, for sure. Chicken livers are good fried. They're a good source of iron too. Yeah, but you just don't want to eat very much liver. You know, very occasionally, liver can be good in a diet. And with cats too, if you have cats and dogs, if you buy cat food, like tinned cat food that has liver in it, you don't want to give that to them very often. Yeah, many meals with a whole chicken. Truly. If you're feeding two people and you have a whole chicken, that's one meal with two thighs, that's one meal with two breasts. That could be one meal with, like, legs. And then what I would probably do is I would then have one meal that consists of I took the carcass and um boiled it and I did the stock thing, and then I would take the wings and cook the wings in a soup. Because there's not enough wings to eat for two people. Like, it's just not very much meat. I might actually do, like, the legs and the wings in the soup. I never want to eat liver, to be honest. I'm willing. I'm willing to do many things. I would even try the hearts and the lungs if I knew how to cook them in a way that was delicious. You can also save the wing tips for soup. Yeah, that is what I did. I took the wing tips and I threw them in with the stock as well because I was like, there's, you know, skin and bone in there. That'll be healthy to, you know, suck some of that out and put it in the stew. Grilled chicken heart. I'm not interested in eating gizzards. I've had gizzards before and they're so chewy. It's not a pleasant experience, you guys. Fried chicken hearts, livers, gizzards, etc. are great. Hearts are pretty chewy too. Yeah, that's why you have to cook them in a way that is gonna like saturate them with fluid. It's like eating rabbit, you know, you have to either fry it or stew it slowly. So I'm imagining with liver, you know, frying it would, or sorry, with the hearts, frying it would put a lot of liquid into it. Lux would eat prairie oysters confirmed. Where I'm from, they're called Rocky Mountain oysters. And yes, I have done that. They were delicious. There was a lot of breading though, so it's like, you know, I wish we had top of the hour ad breaks. I have it set to where it just kind of does them automatically and it tries to do them in a balanced way. Bowls, true bowls. I had a cat that used to get sick every time I fed her liver cat food. Need a few good titers. A few good titers. Yes, Rocky Mountain oysters are generally bull testicles. The way that they are served where I live, if you go to a barbecue place that serves them, they are sliced thinly, so they're very thin, just like little discs, and then they bread and fry them up. So yeah, they're fine. They're really good. I mean, they don't have a lot of inherent taste as far as I can tell, so you kind of just mostly get whatever flavor of the seasoning and the flour. Ricky Mountain Oysters would be a perfect episode title for Rick and Morty. Is Kansas known for its barbecue? Yeah, Kansas City. So you've got like, you know, North Carolina, South Carolina, that's a very specific style of barbecue. Texas has a very specific style of barbecue. And then Kansas, like Kansas City, has its own specific style of barbecue. Yeah, so it's one of the things we're on the map about. Delicious barbecue. Like my granddad used to do like, he would enter into like chili competitions. Like literally, like people in my family were participating in barbecue competitions. Like, you know, this time it's brisket competition. Like, oh man. Like so many people I've known growing up have a smoker. I guess I need a smoker. I never thought about this until now, but like smoking is one of the many ways that you preserve food. So like, yeah, you can have a freezer, but also if you smoke meat, first of all, that gives you a wider variety of choices as far as flavor and like what kinds of like food you're making. But also, yeah, it's a way of preserving some of your food. And then you could potentially like dry store smoked foods. That would be so good. Virginia is also known for a kind of sweet barbecue. Nice. Yeah, make some bacon. Exactly. You could be a big pig too. Oi! I haven't seen The Lion King in such a long time. Excuse me. The burping is real. Nobody interested in seeing me flex today? Did anybody get a tax return? I'll take $5 of your tax return as a gift. Thank you. Oh god, tax season. My mom is going to be sending me a bunch of yarn. I'm very excited. No, that's half of my return. I mean, I'm glad that you at least got a $10 return, you know? Okay, what was this most recent video with Erin on the Majority Report? Was this her initial response to the cast review that you mentioned, Mama? Excited for yarn makes you sound like a cat. Listen, I'm a person who crochets things. Yeah, you see this mushroom? I need to finish. I literally just need to sew the two parts together, which is already started, but I'm so lazy. I'm like gonna sell it for what, like 30 bucks? Jackie, thank you for the $1 dono. Listen, I appreciate it. It's gonna take a minute to pop up on the screen because it's slow for some reason through YouTube, but thank you. Another dollar in the jar. No, I don't need that. I need this. Come back, chat. Oh my god, no shit, Gwen. I got $10 back on my return, and that's way better than owing $2K before expense reductions. Holy shit. Yeah, Trump's tax stuff expires, I think, after 2025. So we're stuck with Trump-era tax bullshit. Like, why is that? I think that system is deliberately designed in such a way that it, like, every time one president is in office, he's getting either the credit or the blame for something that happened in last presidency. Like, if Trump set the tax, I mean, I'm not saying he individually did any of the work. If Trump signed off on these taxes with like a Republican-controlled Congress, then it's basically like, okay, so for the entire duration of Biden's presidency, we're all paying really high taxes, basically. And I say we all, I mean regular people and not rich people. And then when Biden passes tax stuff, then Trump is going to get credit for whatever, benefits that's going to have. It's really fucking dumb. So, pretty obnoxious taxes. And then I live in Kansas, and we have really, really high state taxes for some reason, despite the fact that we don't have really robust public services. Like, public schools are closing, and like public roads are in very shit condition. Like, what do I pay all these taxes for? Apparently I pay all these taxes to fucking Ken Paxton to collect a list of trans people for him to just keep on his desk for no particular reason. I'm not familiar with the experiment you're referring to, Decoy Duck. Yeah, we gotta funnel money into the churches somehow. Wendrick, what are you wedding? Did I at least say the right name this time? Ken Paxton is the guy from Kansas. No, he's the Texas Attorney General. Why do I keep doing that? Chris Kobach. Yeah, it's that their names both start with K and they're white dudes who I hate. So it's easy for them to blend into one person. List of trans people. Yeah, Wendrick. So when my state in Kansas changed the law regarding driver's licenses, so they're going to retroactively revoke my gender marker change, basically. That included Chris Kobach, the state attorney general, having like a list of every person in Kansas who has changed their name, who has changed their gender on their driver's license or birth certificate. So, yeah, it's great. Oh yeah, I'll get Ken Paxton also did this like list of people who've changed their gender thing. Yeah, it's crazy here in Virginia. We were paying our deputy sheriff so little in a local county that he quit his job to go work at McDonald's because the pay and benefits were better. Our taxes are sky high, but they're not paying teachers, cops, etc. Don't know where the hell the money's going. Good stuff. It's funny how there are actually fewer people in here right now than when we were talking about veganism earlier, which was, like, usually veganism is the topic that scares people away. Ken Paxton was trying to get lists of trans people outside his state too. Yeah, He was trying to get like, oh, give me all. He was contacted a Seattle hospital to be like, hey, give me a list of every person who has crossed state lines to get trans healthcare in your state. Like, what? What? What are all these taxes going toward? Okay, I'm gonna drink more water as well. Water is good for you. I don't even want to talk about Israel today either. I'm so annoyed. Yes, water. Drink more water, y'all. Or at least drink an adequate amount of water. Maybe you don't need to drink a ton more water, eh? You can't say Texas without putting that ass in it. Kelsey, you're so random, LOLXD. Yeah, I'm not. I was gonna cover, like, I was thinking about covering everything that's been going on with Columbia University, just because we've covered it previously. But I need to, I need to reduce the number of things that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna reduce the number of things that I'm worried about. Mix it with rum; it'll last longer. We're more of a whiskey family. If my partner and I drink, it's usually it's like whiskey or beer, you know, every once in a while. Excuse me. Stay moist. True. Mm. No, don't drink water. They've never done randomized double-blind tests with water. Oh no. There's no high-quality evidence that water is good for you. Hmm. Against HIPAA to do that. No, it's not against HIPAA if it's for a legitimate, if there's some kind of legitimate legal investigation. Like, you guys realize that HIPAA doesn't mean you're never allowed to share this information, right? It's you're never allowed to share this information unless there is a compelling legal reason to do so, which obviously collecting data about trans people, I would not acknowledge as a legitimate legal reason to do so. But when you have a fascist government, you know. Why am I still thirsty after drinking this water? That's the placebo water. It was vodka. Jules is sipping on an Arnie Palmy. I've never had an Arnold Palmer before. I don't even know if I have like a proper like segment to do this Cass shit. Like her. Was her work just completely warped? Hmm. So did this poor woman's name get associated with a deeply transphobic meta-analysis, despite the fact that she disagrees with the way that the conclusions were written? That's fascinating. I guess that makes it an interesting story to cover. I might take a voice break at the 2-hour mark, because you are apparently supposed to rest your voice after about 2 hours if you've been talking consistently. There's also other ways the data from your health records can and are used in research. HIPAA is actually kind of a complex policy. Yep. Okay, so Cass herself is a big transphobe. She did work with DeSantis government on anti-trans laws. Okay. My problem with whiskey is that the good ones get expensive. I have a higher tolerance for grocery store rum. Fair, yeah. You know, I just drink, a little bit of Jack, some Jack and Daniels. It's not complicated, like not the highest quality, whatever. It's not really meant to taste good. It's just kind of like, yep, that's alcohol. I don't really think about alcohol tasting good anymore. I'm like, yes, that's alcohol. I get, the dirty martinis that I make, I guess, taste good, but that's because I make them with so much olive juice. Hillary Cass also follows Mad Turfs on social media. Okay, she followed several people from the LGB Alliance. Ugh. I don't like talking about the news anymore. Why have I done this to myself? Because I'm going to be reading it anyway. I might as well make that like the thing that I do on show. Yeah. It's cool that they're at least explicitly saying now that they don't want trans and gender nonconforming people to be teachers. Fun fact about the LGBT Alliance, about 70% of the members are straight. True. My family usually drinks good old Canadian rye. It's good to have and then we also generally, I probably shouldn't drink these kind of beers so much right now if I'm trying to like watch what I'm eating and everything and like reduce my total number of calories, but we tend to drink like stout beers. DeSantis, big reason I left from Florida to New Mexico. So many people are leaving these states. Like, what do they think is going to happen to their economies if people are moving out in droves? These people who allegedly really, really care about lining their pocketbooks, you're just going to gradually... Like, how are you going to open a giant Amazon distribution center in, like, Texas, for example, if a lot of the people are just like, no, we're getting the hell out of here. Goodbye. The logic. Most of the red states are subsidized by the big blue states. True. Like, where the hell do you think those farming subsidies are coming from? Those are federal taxes. I feel like tourism is the only thing keeping North Michigan alive because of the very nice scenery. Well, don't worry. The economy in Michigan is going to gradually do better and better as people have to move further and further north to get rid of to escape the wet bulb temperatures. Yep, no more trips to Disney World. No more Disney World. So we basically have two articles that we can talk about today. One of them is, Greg Abbott, who's the governor of Texas, has made this statement against transgender teachers. And then, this Dr. Cass thing, which is apparently going to be really long. I guess I assumed that there wasn't going to be much on this topic. What music has everybody been listening to lately? I know I've told you multiple times that their interview with Aaron Reed about it is only half an hour. Yeah, but we already covered that. Like, the interview with Aaron Reed, it's not about the cast report backpedaling. It's about the cast report in the first place, which we did already cover. Ah, whoops. Sleep Token, Slipknot, Porcupine Tree. Been listening to very gay music. I've been getting back into a little bit of an Owl City kick. I don't really listen to music very often, but I'm like, listening to some of this music that I was really into, like, about like 15 years ago. Round 15 years ago. EBM and synth pop. Nice. Hardcore punk. And rap. True. Sometimes YouTube is like, hey, would you like to listen to this artist who's kind of similar? And I'm like, no. I said Owl City. No, it comes as a shock to any of you who've been here before when I've majorly shit-talked music. Like, normally I don't like to listen to it at all. Anything beat-based, because I am all about the thump at this point. Thump, 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 thump. Sophie Powers. Black metal. I learned about the saying disco nap the other day. Apparently it's an old term for taking a nap before a night out so you have energy. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a disco nap before I go out on my date tonight. There's this band called Cattle Decapitation. They have a really good pro-trans song called Forced Gender Reassignment. It's about forcing a transphobe to transition. Oh gosh, y'all have listened to some very weird shit. Yeah, I'm not much of a napper. I don't really want to ever nap. Can we get to 100 likes today? That's the question. It's really interesting how, like, the first year that I streamed, like, I think a lot of people had a lot more available money. And then, like, each year, I'm like, oh, we're in tax season. Generally, a lot of poor people get taxes back, right? And then, no. It's like increasingly, even if you're in a really low tax bracket, you still end up paying taxes. You've made it past 69 likes. What more could you ask for? Someday, it would be really wonderful if my show got big enough that we could have like 420 likes, Like, it's so interesting to me that as someone who started out doing something closer to video essay content, although I've never scripted my content, but I used to do just like videos where I sat down and talked, And therefore I built my audience doing that instead of streaming. But there are other people who started out as streamers, And then, like, so if you are a streamer mainly, like Demon Mama, and she has almost 30,000 subscribers. I have about 33,000 subscribers. Her stream audience is way, 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 way bigger than mine because she built all those subscribers while streaming. Whereas I have basically acquired, like, I've lost a shit ton and then I've gained a few back. So, like, I would say maybe 5,000 of my 33,000 are people who followed because I'm streaming, I funded most of Ty Turner's Shave the Mullet fund for his new camera. Okay, well, listen. Ty Turner was able to afford like several $1,000s in a wedding venue. I don't know that he needs it, but I'm not going to complain. He deserves every good thing he gets. I only know you through streaming, TBH. Yeah, prices for everything has gone up. And, like, trying to buy clothes that fit. Oh my god. Even going to the thrift store. Like, why are prices up at the thrift store? I know that you don't pay your employees very well. Like, seriously, $4 to buy a used tank top, like just a plain tank top at the thrift store. Like, no, bitch, that should be like $2. I'm not shaving off my hair for you, by the way. I don't know that there's any amount of fundraising that I would do that would compel me to shave my head. I have put so much effort into growing this hair out. Have you seen the shit that Dollar General has been pulling? Nope, I have not. I'm not really familiar with what the Dollar General has been pulling. Yeah, I think I'm gonna shave my head after the show. I'm gonna try to anyway. Just gonna shave the sides down. I really love tahini, but now it's like $8 for 16 ounces. I've never had tahini, but that, yeah. Corporations jacking up the price on anything and wages have not experienced a similar rise. Yep. Like, I'm reliant on Patreon income, advertisement income, and like gift donations. So, you know, when everyone's income is suffering, my income suffers, but I, like everybody else, am still paying grocery store prices. and of course they say, oh, you know, the inflation has slowed down, but it's that the prices are still going up every quarter. They're just going up by less. It's not like we're fixing it, like where we're going back to the prices that were commensurate with the economy. Tahini is sesame seed paste. It makes killer sauces and dressings. Oh yeah, if you're on SSDI, it's almost impossible to afford decent food. All these companies have been using chronic understaffing to their advantage and moving prices up by small amounts all across the store, and then not giving enough hours for the tags to even be updated. Really? I guess I'm not paying that close of attention. I wouldn't have noticed if the prices were generally like ringing up wrong, because I'm not like keeping track as I go through the store. Oh, that item was supposed to be $3.99, but it actually rang up as $4.36. Yeah, once they raise prices, they never lower them. Oh, I see. You're specifically talking about in Dollar Generals. Okay, Dollar Generals have been using chronic understaffing to their advantage, and they move prices up by small amounts all across the store. And then, yeah, they aren't changing the prices on the shelves. I think so. Yeah, an investigation found that 80% of Dollar General stores do not have accurate prices on the shelves. And then they're going to be closing a bunch of stores, right? They're just going to close a ton of stores, which is not good because sometimes Dollar General is functionally the only place to get any kind of grocery stuff in like really small remote towns all across the Midwest for sure. Yeah, the shrinkflation absolutely too. Food deserts. Pardon. And the Dollar Tree minimum price is $1.25. That's, you know, it's like McDonald's had to stop calling it their dollar menu because nothing on there costs $1 anymore. Now, it is still cheaper to eat off of the little cheapy side menu than it is to get their proper, like, combo meal burgers. But, yeah. Not as cheap as it used to be. What do we do about capitalism? Because it feels like a strain all of us are feeling, but none of us are able to do anything. Yeah, well, it's gonna collapse on its own. Don't worry about it. It's hard to use old recipes because a lot of them are based on old can sizes. How do I get 32 ounces of tomato paste when they sell them in 13.9 ounce cans? Yeah, that's really stupid. I recently was trying to get medicine at the pharmacy at CVS. They tried to charge me $400 for $18 worth of medication. I had to go to my doctor, and then they had to call the pharmacy just for me to get this basic medication. I don't know if the cashier was trying to run a scam or if the company was the one who did it, but either way, they were trying to scam me. Yeah, why? Why is it like it's just so frustrating, you know? Why are they charging huge amounts of money for medicine? You know, when they fix prices, it's only for Medicaid, so they're still gonna charge people with private insurance a ton of money. The crazy thing is that inflation wasn't that bad during the pandemic. It just picked up over the last 2 years. Well, I will say, first of all, that during the pandemic is still right now. Right now is still during the pandemic. So, but during lockdowns, it was not that bad. It's definitely like the inflation has gotten worse since we stopped acknowledging the pandemic, for sure. When capitalism collapses, how do we recover? Well, we start producing food on the local community level. That's the thing that you're going to have to do. It's going to collapse, and then we're going to find Lux and have it be our leader. You know, if you want to buy your own land somewhere within 5 miles of where my land is, and that would be cool. And you can do your own thing, and I'll do my own thing. I still wear a mask sometimes at the store. I'm the only one, though. Yeah, at this point, we're past the point that that friends are gonna take it as like a kind gesture. I'm gonna continue to still try. Like I'm recently was invited to a small personal Discord server, and the like a bunch of them got on airplanes and went to a concert, and I know that none of them were wearing masks, and now their flight is delayed and they're still hanging out at the airport, and I'm like, y'all are gonna get really, really sick. Like I basically think like no chance. If you go to a concert with no mask indoors and you fly on an airplane and you're hanging out in the airport a bunch, there's like no chance. There's like no chance you're not gonna get sick. And I would like to compassionately talk to my friends, because a lot of them are in their like 20s as well. And I want to be like, yo, you know, you are going to be unable to support yourself if you don't start making like, you know, strategic adaptive decisions around this. But I think that unfortunately, you know, the government still has a lot of legitimacy to people. A lot of people don't understand that the CDC is a political organization and not a scientific organization. They're not like chronically on Twitter, so they don't hear things like, oh, remember when they reduced the required quarantine from 2 weeks down to like 5 days? Well, that's specifically because Delta Airlines asked them to, you know? But yes, we're still very much experiencing a pandemic Lovato. And, you know, it may very well be that like a majority of people, even if they catch COVID over and over and over again, are not ever going to see like severe debilitating problems. They will probably just gradually stop being able to remember things and gradually like have reduced heart function. And probably a lot of them are just they're gonna start getting older at a younger age than they should, and they'll die 10 years earlier, the way that most people die, but just 10 years earlier because of telomere damage. I do Instacart, and I spend loads of time in grocery stores. Having worked in them and being raised by someone who worked in them for a long time, grocery stores are gross, and I will always mask in there. Long COVID versus microplastics. Who will be the lead poisoning of our generation? I think it's gonna more be long COVID. You know, microplastics can affect fertility, but I don't know. Like, it doesn't really seem like our bodies interact with microplastics. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see how that goes. You know, like microplastics are not proliferating themselves in our bodies. You know, they are, to some extent, they're sort of limited. And because they're non-organic, I mean, you know, we put plastic in people on purpose. Like, parts of your pacemaker are plastic. Sure, it depends on what the plastic is. Fair enough. Yeah, why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos? Let's get some overlap in here. Microplastics plus long COVID. People sure make it easy to be a misanthrope. Listen, I love people, and it's my compassion for them that makes me so fucking frustrated at everything that's happening. Ugh. Happy Sunday, lefty homies. True. You gotta get your stretches in every once in a while. Ocean spray aerosolizes microplastics. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Good thing I don't live near the ocean. I'm not going to the beach. But it's like, yeah, we're finding microplastics in breast milk now. You know, I avoid eating fish, okay? That's what I do to try to reduce my microplastics exposure. I just do my best to not eat fish very often. I still succumb and I eat fish sometimes, but not very much. Many are living at O2 levels in the 80% after having COVID-19. Yep. Okay, I am going to take just a short break to use the restroom and rest my voice for a minute. When we get back, we will consider talking about some actual news. Don't gotta go to the beach because the beach is coming to you. True. Biggest thing is filtering PFAS out of your water. Zero water being useful for that kind of filtering. Just got back and you're going, listen, I'm only going for like a little 5-minute break, okay? We're at almost 100 likes. So we are achieving our goals. And then we'll talk about more news in a bit. But I will leave you with the bugs. If you need to take a break, get yourself a snack, refill your water, take care of yourselves, okay? And I will be back momentarily. Bye! Jump scare. Oh my god. I think it's a shame there's no isopod emoji. True. Lux is going to go get some milk, just like my dad. Oh, no. I'm back. Uno momento, por favor. Let me also just quickly draw attention to the fact that this is a super comfy logo hoodie, and there's so much different merch. Do you want a hat? Do you want a t-shirt? Click the links in the description. I want a mug. That's the one thing. I should buy myself one, because I think I had a pretty good month, and like I think that I can justify getting myself a little treat, like a mug with my logo on it. Because also, ooh, this is an exciting thing that I want to tell you. I am getting a new tattoo soon. We're very close to 100 likes. Hit like if you are excited about a new tattoo. None of my tattoos have ever cost more than 200 bucks. And I don't think that this tattoo is going to cost more than 200 bucks either. So, definitely good stuff. Oh my god, my eyeballs. Hey, good thing, Alchemy. Gonna be able to change your name soon. Tattoo, what am I getting? I'm getting the Full Metal Alchemist Ouroboros tattoo. So, you know, the tattoo that's on Lust's chest right here, and that's on Gluttony's tongue, and it's on Greed's hand. I'm gonna get it on my thigh, where Envy has theirs. So, on my leg. I'm excited. I went to the tattoo parlor and I put down my deposit this week and I set the appointment. And I'm so excited. I'm going to the same parlor that did my chest tattoo up here. I do think at some point I'm going to have this one shaded. I want to maybe ask the artist who's going to be doing my leg tattoo, like, just watched it go to 100 likes. Yes! Damn, I wanted to get the thigh one. You should get the thigh one. You should. One of my friends actually just got the thigh one a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, you beat me to it. But no, totally. Like, I don't think that because someone else has a tattoo means that you can't get it. There are probably dozens of people out there who have the thigh tattoo. Sipping jalapeno juice like a wine mom waiting for my lunch break to end. I drink pickle juice, but I don't know that I've ever tried to drink jalapeno juice. That's fascinating. But yeah, it's not going to take very long. I'm not going to have to pay the artist to design anything because the design already exists. So it's just a matter of getting exactly the right sizing and then getting it on there. The artist suggested that I should get an outline, which honestly I think kind of sucks. But I think that maybe also they were initially thinking that I was going to do like a really small tattoo. And so there was concern about like some of the edges bleeding together, like some of the tips becoming less tippy. I might go ahead and experiment with Inkbox before trying real tattoos. I don't like the commitment. Also, I'm indecisive as fuck. Listen, I am a person, I'll spend years thinking about something before I'll get it. Now, I think I'm going to try to do this less with tattoos, although maybe like I have a lot of ideas for tattoos that I've just been putting off, but I don't want to get a tattoo every 3 years or get a new piercing every 3 years or whatever. Like, if I want to do a body mod, I want to get it when I want it, because I keep putting this shit off, and I still want the tattoo. Like, it's been years I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it since before I even got my last tattoo, which was like 2 or 3 years ago now. I'm like, literally YOLO. Literally, I only have this one life. I only have so many years left. Like, why am I going to spend a greater portion of those years not living in the body in the ideal way that I want it to be? Like, I want to live more years feeling like, yeah, I'm full. Like, I'm whole. YouTube be like, you've watched Luxander, Dead Domain, and Katie Montgomery. You might like this Helen Joyce speech. Uh-huh. Hey, what's up, Gold? Learned I'm NB about a month ago. Would love to get a tattoo to commemorate it. Any good Pinterest boards to get any ideas? I don't use Pinterest. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's my body and I'll mod it now. Color is always more expensive, I think. I'm not sure. I got a recommendation for Helen Joyce while watching Takis the other day. Got my first tattoo at 33, like a couple months ago. It's honestly been such a confidence booster. Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. And especially because, the location of Envy's tattoo being on their thigh, I think that kind of makes it like, it's a little bit of like, it's a tattoo that fucks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's going to be high enough. Like, it'll be high enough to be like hidden under a skirt, under most skirts, I think. If I were wearing like a mini skirt, it might be like barely visible, which is tantalizing. Or if I'm wearing like short shorts, it would be like it being completely visible in short shorts is a little bit less tantalizing than it being a little bit hidden. But I'm gonna wear some short shorts when I get the tattoo, so we'll see like what the exact placement is. But yeah, tattoos on your thighs, especially I think if you're a femme person, I think when guys get tattoos on their thigh, it's usually going to be like this, boom, something solid on the front of their leg. Like it's a display piece where they only have to pull up their shorts a little bit to show their display piece. But if you're getting tattoos on the side of your thighs, especially kind of high up, like those are tattoos that fuck. Absolutely. That's just my personal opinion. I once watched a documentary on bears, and then I got like 6 recommendations for Joe Rogan shorts. That's so weird. Yep, tattoos. It's gonna hurt. Of course it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna be good. So I scheduled that appointment out, and it's gonna be a couple weeks. Couple weeks. I'm sure I'll tell you about it when it happens. I probably won't post pictures or anything. I'm not gonna sit here and try to like get my leg in the frame. But I don't know, maybe I'll take pictures and put them on Patreon or something. We'll see. But I'm excited. I like getting tattoos, and it's like, okay, I think I can tolerate after basically not buying myself any fun treats for a while. Like, I'll occasionally buy myself something if it's like 10 or 15 bucks. Maybe once a month. Maybe I'll buy a book that I want, or like a pair of earrings that have been on my list for a really long time. But yeah. As far as something that costs like a couple $100, that feels really, 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 really expensive to me. I don't normally buy something that expensive, and it's the kind of thing I might do for myself like once a year. So I'm happy that I've made that decision. I watched a video once about Avatar: The Last Airbender, then got recommended Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, and Tim Pool content back to back afterwards. Ooh, I've got almost my whole right arm done. That's exciting. I don't know if I want sleeves or not. Like, are the sleeves gonna make my muscles look less big? Because that's a priority for me. Muscles. It's still showing me only 99 likes. Someone else said that they saw it go to 100, but it's still only showing me 99. I would like to do something cellulite reclaiming. I have some cellulite, but I'm also in the process of trying to lose like another 10 pounds, so tattoos are addictive but awesome. I didn't think they would be. My very first tattoo was back here, right up here, and it hurt, like it pinched. I was like, damn, I don't see why people get like addicted to this. But it'll hide the muscle definition for sure. Yeah, okay, so I don't want sleeves on my upper arms then, at least. Like, if you shoot your E into your arms or anywhere really, they get smaller. I take estrogen by a pill right now. And also I produce it in my body. So, but I'm trying to make my arms bigger. I'm very much heading that like muscle thembo direction, dabbing. for muscle thembos. Get arrows pointing to your muscles. True. Just like pointing in this way. That would be fun. Surely there are tattoos that could accentuate the contour of muscles. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, this would be a very painful place to get a tattoo anyway. Like, this area up here, like, I don't have any tattoo ideas or plans for my upper arms at all right now, actually. Or my shoulders. I have a forearm tattoo right here. But I could... So here's the thing. I kind of want to have a dick installed someday, which means that this primetime real estate right here, I already have a tattoo on this arm that might end up on my penis. So that's bad enough on its own. But this entire arm... So I will probably get forearm tattooed after... Like, if I get penis tattoo... Sorry, if I get penis installed, I don't want to have penis tattoo. So I would like... I would like want to preserve that skin for the entirety of the time that I'm making the decision of whether or not to actually go forward with surgery. And then afterward, cool, then yeah, I can cover this arm with something. Dick tattoo goes hard, true. You imbibe E as well as in-house production? Yeah, I take birth control. I produce estrogen and I also take birth control. Tattoo the penis on your arm, then penis is penis tattoo. Easy peasy, true. I'm doing right arm sleeve. So yeah, I like the idea of getting like some kind of mushroom tattoo. That sounds cool, but I don't know what mushroom or what part of my body. Like, I don't know the details of the design. I just kind of generally think that a mushroom tattoo would be cool. I really like it when women have those, like, tentacle tattoos on their thighs, although I don't know if I want to emulate that or if I just think it's hot on other people. And I want to get some kind of cover-up for this tattoo, my first tattoo. It's like a gender symbol, right? And I just don't really want a gender symbol on my body anymore. I mean, it's not like because I'm afraid of fascists or whatever. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I am trans, but I don't really need to have a mark on my body anymore about it. So I kind of want to get a cover up, but I have no idea what I want it to be. I just am like, generally, I want it to be covered up. So for that, I'll probably have to work with an artist. No, yeah, it has nothing to do with outing myself. It's just because I don't feel the need to have transness on my skin that way. So I'm gonna have to talk to a tattooist and be like, yo, what do you think could work as a cover-up? Can we discuss some different options? I want a hip tattoo like those succubus markings. Isn't the succubus marking, like, right over the womb? The comment, I want to have a dick installed someday, caught me off guard for some reason. It's not really the kind of way that people talk about it, I don't think. And I don't think people casually talk about it very much. Like, there are more trans women out here talking about wanting surgery. I think there are a lot of trans men who are really kind of stuck up about it and are like, well, you know, when they can grow one out of stem cells, then I'll get one. And it's like, that's whatever, okay. Like, it just makes me not like you very much. I can't necessarily articulate it right this moment, but it just makes me go like, ugh. So, yeah, for me to just be like, yeah, I want to get a dick added to my body. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I acknowledge that I want that. Make it the Dark Souls dark sign. I've never really gotten into Dark Souls. I know, tentacle thighs are so sexy, aren't they? Thank you for complimenting my mug. My mother-in-law got it for me. It says love on the inside a whole bunch of times. Love, 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 love. You could do a seahorse. I don't really like seahorses that much. I mean, they're cute, and I like that they represent, like, LGBT, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, because the males carry the babies. but I don't want one on my body, my skin. I don't want to talk about the news. My connective tissue issues seem to produce massive stretch marks. I kind of want rainbow stretch marks, but not sure if it's doable. I have a lot of stretch marks, yeah, but I've never really thought about tattooing them because they're quite difficult to tattoo because they are scar tissue. So I'm just kind of hoping that I don't have a bunch of tiny stretch marks in the place on my leg where I want the new tattoo to go. Raven and crow tattoos are good. Yeah. From what I've heard, FTM bottom surgeries are a little more complicated than MTF. Yeah, so it tends to require multiple stages is the main difference. Like for vaginoplasty, it's usually one surgery, and then you spend like a while recovering and dilating and make sure you heal with the correct amount of depth and everything that you want to have. So that's, in that way, it's sort of simpler and less complicated. So of course, like with phalloplasty, you have the skin graft from the arm to the penis, and then you have a partial skin graft from the leg to cover the arm. And then that's like stage one. And that's a lot of shit for stage one. That's why it's so hard to heal from, because you have 3 different wound sites. And then, usually, like in a later stage, they refine the actual appearance to give it like a glans. And then, maybe in a separate stage, you have the erectile device put in and like the ball implants put in as well. And if you're trying to build a longer urethra, it's really difficult to heal a urethra and also pee out of it. Like, and so there's complications pretty frequently with the urethral lengthening process. That's the main thing. I think that's the main thing that makes it so much more difficult. Like, that's why people think complications. Dilating is permanent, no. I think if someone has gotten through that first year or two of healing, it is still recommended to dilate. But you could also just, if you have a partner who has a dick, you could also just have sex with your partner once a week, and that counts as dilating once a week. Balls. Balls, 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 balls. 103 thumbs up. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? As always, y'all, we encourage, if you're in the YouTube chat, to consider hopping over to the website. It's nice over here. We have custom emojis. And if you want to send a gift donation, it's only the PayPal fees, as opposed to YouTube taking like 30 to 40% of your donation for themselves. It is a little bit better coming over the website. Consider hopping over. Yes, urethral lengthening is the most likely to have complications part, whether you're getting metoidioplasty or phalloplasty. That's very true. Also, after you've been healed for a couple of years, it matters less if you miss a week or two at that point. Yeah, it's, that healing initial process, but it can atrophy over time if you just stop using it. So, gotta be careful. Yeah, doctor's orders, have sex once a week with your partner. Is there like a limit to the depth on vaginoplasty? So I'm not an expert in this because I was born with my vagina, but as I understand it, generally, of course, if you are doing the penile inversion technique, there are generally some limitations based on how big your pee-pee was in the first place. I think if you do a peritoneal pull-through method, then it is a little bit better as far as you would have options for how deep you want it to go. And of course, you're still limited by literally how much space there is in your pelvic cavity. So, yeah. I think that probably there is an upward limit, but I don't know what that upward limit is. I'm not an expert in the pussy surgeries. I'm sorry. True, yeah, doctor's orders, go fuck yourself. Yeah, the fun of MTF bottom surgeries is the doctor's orders, go fuck yourself part. Uh, we don't really have that. We don't really have doctor's orders, go fuck yourself. I think generally speaking, you're supposed to avoid masturbating for a while because you don't want to like have a muscle spasm in a place where something is trying to heal right now. Anyway, the random topics that we end up discussing on my show, including dick and pussy surgery. Right before we talk about horrible things in the news, huh? I still haven't decided if I actually want to do a proper segment about Dr. Cass or if I just want to like review it with you all. If I ever get that kind of surgery, it would probably be nullo. Hell yeah, high five for nulloplasties. I've been looking at penile preserving vaginoplasty, and that's super cool. I feel like even a lot of trans people don't know about it. Yeah, like it is possible to get, because you can get peritoneal pull-through method just like behind your existing genitals. Nulloplasty is where they nullify your genitals. Still need to get my first tattoo finished. I started it pre-COVID. Yeah, like I have this one up here it's like a black and white line work one, and I'm starting to think maybe it deserves a little bit of shading. I don't really want to talk about Dr. Cass in depth, so we're just gonna go over it a little bit. I don't want to do a whole segment about this, so we're not going to. But we are going to talk about it a little bit. So Dr. Cass is the one who, like, her name was on the report. There was an interview that she's done since then, interviewing with LGBTQ plus organizations. She has reportedly stated that puberty blockers and hormone therapy should be made available based on the need, and that current policies in England often result in those medications being offered too late. Of course, this stands in stark contrast to the report itself, which presents much more restrictive findings and recommendations on trans youth that have been used to ban treatments in the UK and have been cited by far-right organizations in the US. Did she retract part of that report? Yeah, there are some direct quotes later on in here. So in this interview with UK-based LGBTQ plus organization The Kite Trust, Dr. Hilary Cass is asked if she believes it is okay to prescribe puberty blockers. Her answer is significantly out of alignment with the report. Quote, in the data the Cass review examined, the most common age that young trans people were initially being prescribed puberty-suppressing hormones was 15. Dr. Cass's view... Wait, what is this a quote of? This can't be a quote from Dr. Cass. If she's referring to herself in the third person? Okay, weird. Dr. Cass's view is that 15 is too late to have the intended benefits of suppressing the effects of puberty, and this was caused by the previous NHS policy of requiring a young trans person to be on puberty-suppressing hormones for a year before accessing gender-affirming hormones. The Cass Review report recommends that a different approach is needed, with puberty-suppressing hormones and gender-affirming hormones being available to young people at different ages and developmental stages, alongside a wider range of gender-affirming healthcare based on individual need. So the way that sounds is, it sounds like what she's saying is, if you have a 15-year-old seeking gender-affirming care, you should just put them on cross-sex hormones? Like, that's kind of what it sounds like she's saying. It's an excerpt from the Kite Trust interview. Okay, I just was like, why is this not a direct quote from Dr. Cass? Yeah, I wonder if she switched around her opinion because of all the pushback. Like, because the report was not in line with the evidence. And I also heard somebody say, I saw that she had allegedly stated that she has been cautioned not to use public transport right now because of the risk of her being recognized in public, I guess. Which is interesting. It's like, yeah, I wonder if she's just changing her story now, because it seemed like the overall gist of the cast report was we should be heavily restricting this, but... And it was so self-contradictory, though. So I guess with the report being so internally contradictory, it's not that surprising that her statements after the fact are so contradictory to the overall message of the report. I'm sure. Oh, yeah, sure, Bella. She's probably going to backtrack again at some point and then say that all this has been because of bullying by trans people. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's strange she's acting like the cast report is saying that medication should be available earlier. Excuse me, but that's definitely not what it actually said or what the people were using it for. Yeah, they're like using this as a means of justifying restricting access to care, and if that wasn't the intentions of the person who wrote it, then that's an issue. Okay, I'm scrolling a little bit. Let's see. In the latest interview, Dr. Cass denies any wrongdoing regarding, let's see. Yeah, so Erin says, some people have accused her of using these answers in the interview to be just an attempt to deflect criticism. This is particularly evident in the response regarding a meeting with Dr. Patrick Hunter, a Catholic Medical Association doctor who was tapped by Governor Ron DeSantis in the United States to ban trans healthcare. Following the publication of the Florida Reviews and Standards of Care, which bears a resemblance to the Cass Review, lawsuits revealed that the review was deceitfully conducted. Evidence, including a PowerPoint documentation, showed that the decision to ban trans care had been made before the review had even begun. Documents produced by the lawsuit also revealed that Dr. Cass had taken a meeting and exchanged emails with the Florida team. So she's, you know, taking meetings with people who are, like, passing transphobic legislation in the United States. Let's see. Dr. Cass, in the latest interview, denies any wrongdoing, stating Patrick Hunter approached the Cass Review stating he was a pediatrician who had worked in this area. The Cass Review team were not aware of his wider connections and political affiliations at this time, and so he met the criteria for clinicians who were offered an initial meeting. Patrick Hunter and his political connections had no influence on the content of the Cass Review report, allegedly. When she told the Telegraph she was afraid to use the bus, the first thing I thought of was the CCTV of Brianna on the bus messaging her mom, telling her she was scared, which she was all the time. So, Brianna was a good kid who was not scared all the time, I don't think. Like, I think that she was a very bright and vibrant kid, and that there's this narrative that she was being bullied, but she wasn't. Like, this whole instance with these kids who targeted her, like, that was pretty aberrant. It was not part of the norm for her. This is an email that has been made available to Erin exclusively. Let me see. Email from Dr. Patrick Hunter about meeting with Dr. Cass. Okay. The interview is likely to further embroil the Cass review in scandal both in the United Kingdom and internationally. It seems to represent a significant attempt to deflect criticism from the report by softening some of its conclusions. The defensive tone of the report regarding those who influenced its production and meetings with politically charged appointees who themselves have faced scrutiny over unethical and deceitful practices in reports on trans healthcare is bound to raise eyebrows. However, it remains to be seen whether politicians in England or in the red states of the US who are currently aggressively seeking any pretext to restrict care will pause in their efforts, even with Dr. Cass tempering the implications of her report. Brianna rarely left her home, not from bullying, she just had anxiety. Yeah, I mean, lots of trans youth have anxiety. Yeah, speaking to what someone in the chat has said, um, trans folks don't talk to journalists, especially if you are British, especially if you are sourcing your HRT through alternate means. Apparently, The Guardian have been prepping a story on DIY HRT, and they're going to try to interview trans people for it. Apparently, they are particularly snooping around for under 18s on DIY. So obviously, don't engage with that. I think I've got anxiety from being autistic, and being trans on top of that just makes it worse. Yeah. I mean, yeah, on a fundamental level, people are not interacting with you in a way that makes sense, and they are misinterpreting a lot of your interactions, probably. So there's just like a fundamental anxiety. It's so much easier when you're talking to other autistic people. Like, oh, I keep explaining that I'm not like I feel like I need to explain, oh, I'm just joking, or like, just to be clear, this is how I meant this, and they're always like, yeah, I understood that. And I'm like, oh, cool, cool. So I just been anxious. And like, I don't have to be. It's so nice. Journalists generally do not have a great history of protecting the identities of trans people they've interviewed, especially in the UK. Yeah, I mean, you don't want your name attached to an article, or, you know, even if you are anonymous in the article, that journalist is still going to know things about you, and that's just not safe. I think we should call all neurotypicals neurodifficults. True! Oh my god. Like, the volume of times in my life that I've felt like I am expected to be psychic is crazy. It's not even necessarily about how bad they are at protecting our identities. It's more that almost every paper in the UK at this point is read on Shinigami eyes. They're not going to be writing things in a balanced manner. Yeah, you know, they're going to skew the story. It's going to be about, you know, oh, the trans agenda is so strong that these kids are willing to break the law to get the healthcare that they want. Sad that trans people can't trust the Guardian of all papers to represent them. Yeah, I feel like the Guardian at this point has a reputation for being kind of anti-trans, but I think before that, it kind of had a more broadly reputable reputation. But this keeps happening all over the place. I don't really keep track of the names very well. Like, I'm pretty sure the New York Times is one that definitely is fueling the transphobic rhetoric in the US. The Telegraph is also like that, but that's like a UK paper. Of course, you've got the Daily Mail. There's also so few trans people in the UK that if you mentioned what town they live in a newspaper, it could be deduced by by process of elimination. The Guardian is supposed to be the progressive paper, and they will represent every other minority except trans people. TERFs just have too much influence in the media. It is a strange hang up to have for y'all over there. Like, politically and popularly, it's very, very anti-trans. It's very, very weird. And I wonder, like, I feel like in the US we do have kind of an aggressively pro-trans contingent, and I mostly don't see that in the UK. At least, like, I see obviously trans people are very, very pro-trans, clearly. Something about UK turf brain is extra virulent. Truly. I actually don't even have a TV license at this point because BBC has become transphobic in many ways. Are you allowed to do that? I thought that you were, like, required to have a TV license. I thought it was one of those things that it's like you should be able to opt out of it, but they just won't let you for some reason. People are super invested in the idea of men and women being from separate planets. I think that for a lot of women, this is a cope. You know, they have been historically oppressed, and therefore, okay, you can do that as long as you don't watch live TV. Got it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what causes this, but it is quite strange. Thanks. Thank you, Andy's Mints, for the 69. Wasn't sure how to gift multiple subs, so I'll give you nice. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Transphobia is the new black plague for the UK. Now I have to do math. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do this instead. Okay, now we're at 78.22. 78.22. Number go up. Thank you, Andes. Yeah, math. I don't want to do math unless I have to. I think that that's probably overstating things a little bit. I don't really care that much. I just don't want to take the time to try to think at all while I'm on stream. I'm like, I have to reserve my energy for thinking about the next thing I'm going to say. You would assume that the UK has an extraordinarily high population of trans people if listening to conservatives. There's a weird international hang-up and panic against such a small population of people. It's disproportionate. That's the thing that's so crazy about it. It's so disproportionate. We are such a small percentage of the total society. Even if 50% of trans people were also grooming children, like, actively, that's still less of a threat than, like, the current proportion of Catholic priests who harm children. And if you extrapolate that to, like, Boy Scouts leaders and weird uncles, like, trans people as a population, even if it were true that we were causing so much harm, there are so few of us that it's, like, by sheer numbers, not going to affect that many people. And that's making a very, very generous assumption that a huge number of trans people are perpetrators, when in fact, the opposite is true. A huge number of trans people are victims. And we have a relatively, I think, low per capita population of offenders. But it's, realistically, it's probably pretty close to the general population. If people can't do math, how am I supposed to info dump about it? I have to use an alarm clock. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Oh, it's going to take a minute to pop up on the screen, but thank you. I have to use an alarm clock that makes me do math problems to shut it off, because it's the only alarm that has ever consistently worked for me. I have done that before. I don't remember if it was necessarily to wake me up, or if it was, like, just I needed to do something and I was ignoring my alarm unless I really had to pay attention to it. And it would, just a simple math problem addition or subtraction. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing us up to the donation goal. That means that I get to debase myself before I talk about the actual news item that I plan on covering today. Okay. They've recently seemed to have gone quiet on the whole "we're losing lesbians" front. I think they realized that it made them look like sex pests, maybe, and they decided that rhetorically that was not ideal for them. I was happy to hear Jeremy Corbyn talking about the horrors of transphobia. Seems like he understands somewhat. Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn is one of the least trash politicians in your country. I'm gonna drink some water really quick, and then I'm gonna take off my hoodie. I still have to lose, like, at least, like, 4 more pounds, if not, like, 9 more pounds. I haven't decided if I'm trying to get down to 140 or what exactly the numbers are. Take my phone out of my pocket. That's probably gonna make things a little easier here. Ugh. Yes, getting to the flex goal. Always a wonderful thing. So, like I said, I haven't been, like, working on my arms, but I think in the process of doing the cut, like, the arms will just get a little bit more defined anyway, because I'm just currently trying to get rid of some body fat. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, you did it. Success. Just, oh, that feel when you're putting up your hair. Ooh. So muscly. Jeremy Corbyn is such a poisoned well that no viable party wants to risk letting him join in case the shit flung at him sticks to them. True. Yes, tattoo. There's a tattoo. My other one is back here. Then there's this one. Then there's this one. I'm currently a person with 4 tattoos. And it's only going to be a couple weeks before I am a person with 5 tattoos. Ha 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 ha. Now I need to find a way to get back into this hoodie. Here we go. Back into the hoodie. I know. So rebellious. I really just forget. I forget sometimes that tattoos are supposed to be this counterculture thing that's, like, disrespectable. And the same thing with my with my rings. I forget that people are, like, weird about it, you know? That I forget that it's a thing that people judge. And then one of my YouTube shorts breaks out into a more broad audience and people are like, "Get those fish hooks out of your face." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're real weird." The red top goes delightful with your skin tone. Thank you. I wasn't really thinking about that. It's just comfy to sleep in. Do sleeves count as one tattoo or many? Here's my thing. I think that it depends on, like, when you go get it, right? Like, did you get this piece done individually? I guess, you know, some people get, like, a huge tattoo and only line work, and then they come back for, like, 2 or 3 more sessions painting over the same spot, but with more ink. I don't know. Depends on the tattoo culture of your locale. Stainless steel is non-magnetic. And I think most piercings are, like, surgical steel or stainless steel. Hello, Corpse Candy. Felon, hello. Hope everybody's doing okay here. Just wanted to say I've watched a fair bit of your stuff, and I appreciate it. I sometimes have to step back from the world a bit. I get overwhelmed, so I don't do much engagement stuff. No worries. I appreciate the lurkers out there. We've got lurkers who never comment. We've got lurkers who comment sometimes. I'm down with all of it. Having you as a viewer is still you participating in the community to some extent. So, no worries. Glad you're enjoying the content. Just at the right time. Piercings are 36i stainless steel usually. I have many in my face. Or no, you messed up. Did you mess it up? 316L stainless steel. I'm bad. I got these rings off of Amazon. They might not be like perfect surgical steel, but they have hinges. That was the reason I got them, because they have hinges. So I think the whole concept of tattoos and body piercings or mods being deviant or unprofessional has died down very significantly. Well, yeah, it's died down. Like, there is a cultural shift happening, if for nothing other than necessity. You know, I think we were talking about it in the chat previously, where if you are in, like, Oregon, for example, you might have a place that is trying to only hire people who don't have colored hair or tattoos or piercings, but your total pool of people to choose from is pretty small, because if you're trying to hire young people, then most of them are going to have some of these body mods, and a lot of them have standards around not changing themselves for their employer. Where I live in Utah, it's seen as very inappropriate almost everywhere. I need to put on some chapstick so that I stop trying to pick the dead skin off my lips. It's rather difficult. The compulsive picking. Good stuff. I'm a big fan of feeling comfortable in my body. And if I can't afford a $50,000 surgery, then I'm going to get a $200 tattoo. Okay? That's the logic. That's all of it. Many ex-military folks have tattoos. In fact, it's the majority in my workplace. Well, visible tattoos, I guess I should specify. Because obviously if your tattoo is on your chest under your shirt, nobody at your work needs to know that you have it. But if it's on your lower arm, then obviously that might be more of an issue. Okay, we kind of acknowledged the cast report. Like I said, it's like not substantial enough for me to do a whole segment on it. So we will do a proper segment today, though, on Texas. Texas? Many ex-military have them all up and down their arms. Okay, so at least it's just culturally normalized there. I'm looking to get my septum pierced. I don't want my septum pierced. I pick at my nose too much. And it's like, my nose is crooked, so I don't think a septum tattoo would look good. I have a giant dragon on my shoulder that is eating its own tail, so I am a girl with a dragon tattoo. Not on the neck, though. Also 2 anatomical hearts sewn together to make a cartoon heart that has the phrase Furor Finictus Apud Duo, which is Latin for the madness created by 2. Folia Dieu, which is the folly of 2, is where the phrase was inspired, like the play Romeo and Juliet. I also want my tongue re-pierced bad. I think it's bad enough that I have these in my mouth that could be damaging my teeth. If I had a bar in my mouth, I would worry about fucking up my teeth. But I do like the idea of having, like, a tongue piercing. And I also like the idea of having a split tongue, but I think that would be a little bit too weird. And also it apparently is incredibly harsh to heal from. In Seattle, professionals often get profession-related tattoos. For example, I've met a lot of chefs with food and cooking-related tattoos, and I know some other professions up here do similar things. One of my favorite chefs, Mythical Chef Josh from the Mythical Kitchen, he has a tattoo of a spork on one of his arms, I think. And he has a tattoo of a leek on one of his arms. Like, just very silly stuff. I want a split tongue so bad, but the healing is just OMG no. Yeah, it's apparently one of the most difficult body modifications to heal from. So I don't think I want to deal with that. I don't think I want to. I'm just going to continue mulling over tattoos. I don't think I need any more piercings. I recently got these ones done so that I could wear regular earrings sometimes. Because, you know, I just have the gauges. And so I finally got, like, the second pair of whatever so that I can wear normal earrings if I want to. And but yeah, it's like eyebrow piercings have a tendency to reject. So I've thought about getting an eyebrow piercing, but I don't think I actually want to. I guess you can do one of these, but I think those may also, well, no, I think that would be a good place to get a piercing, but I've never really thought about it. I don't think I really want to. I don't really want to get a stud piercing on my nose either, because again, my nose is crooked. And I don't really need any more lip piercings because I got those. Like, I've thought about getting cartilage piercings up here, so that's maybe a possibility at some point. But those take forever to heal too, so a tongue split is a bastard to heal, but the majority of the healing happens within the first week. Oh no, I know. It's only a week-long healing process for the split tongue, but it's a really hard week. Like trying to eat without getting an infection and like not being able to really chew or talk. Ugh. Crooked Nose Gang, I skied into a tree. I was just born this way, as far as I know. I mean, I did used to get smacked around by one of my parents, but I don't think that I don't think that my nose being crooked is because of that. Body modification. I work for the feds and there are no rules against body modification. Private individuals tend to be a lot more shitty about these things. Do you have a lemon on a stick behind you? No. This is a maypole. Let me... Don't tell your wife about this game. Anyway, thank you for derailing me for a second there. This is a maypole. I just stuck a silk flower on top of it to give it like something to cover the top of it. But, you know, the main purpose of this is the lower part. It's a maypole. There we go. Yeah, ribbons everywhere. Coin slots are cool. Is that a type of piercing? I feel like I have a burp coming. There we go. They do full-size maypoles in the UK. I think they're like 10 feet tall. Yeah, and I know people dance in circles around it. So this is just a representation of a maypole. Because I don't have a community of pagans who are interested in doing that kind of thing with me. I'm on to my next plant attempt, and I'm sprouting mango seed in honor of the guy who spent $100,000 trying to save his mango tree. What happened to the mango tree? What, was he just in a place where it wasn't, was it getting too hot or something? What happened? Crooked Nose Gang, Crooked Nose Gang. Yeah, like my head is turned catty corner to you right now, but my nose looks like it's looking at you directly. It's kind of embarrassing, TBH, but what are you gonna do? I had to remove my brow piercing because I always kept accidentally knocking into it when I moved to wipe sweat off my face. That's why I don't want a nose tattoo. I touch my nose too much. I blow my nose. I have a runny nose. Like, I have allergies. I just can't touch it all the time. Okay, let's do goddamn news. Let's do a fucking news, okay? And then we won't have any more news waiting for us. I have a deviated septum. I may very well have a deviated septum. I mean, I certainly can't breathe through my nose very well. The story is not finished. The mango tree was breaking down a wall under his driveway and compromising his neighbor's yard. He spent like $100,000 trying to save it so far, down in Cali somewhere. So he's like, oh, the roots of this tree are destroying the foundation or something. That's pretty great. Oh no. Hello, Himjack. Welcome to the website. They made us dance around the maypole in primary school. Yes, I see that you're new here. Thank you for making an account on the website. We appreciate you being here. I would love to have had a thing where we danced around the maypole in primary school. We didn't do that. It's more of a European thing, I think. I still have coffee at 3 in the afternoon, but it is decaf, which makes it okay. Nearly gone. I have the article open. We're going to talk about Greg Abbott and how much he sucks. Oh, it's hi, I'm Jack. Okay, cool. I see. Okay. I think it's been pretty obvious for a while that one of the goals of kind of like pushing trans people out of public life, and particularly this thing where they are talking about schools, they're doing all this, oh, you're not allowed to talk about pronouns with students. We've had questions about, well, what does that mean for transgender teachers? If a transgender teacher tells students their pronouns, is that like educating them on pronouns and therefore breaking the don't say gay rules? Well, it seems like there is a question in Florida indicating that, they can't restrict that. It's not educating on it or whatever. Like, if the teacher writes their name and their pronouns on the board, it seems like the First Amendment, according to one judge, is on the side of trans people being able to use their preferred pronouns in the workplace. But we know, at least I've been speculating for a while, that basically this type of restriction on trans people is trying to push us out of this workplace. Like, they don't want us around their children. They can't explicitly make a law, usually, saying you can't be a teacher if you're trans. But, if they create a hostile work environment, if they say, oh, you can't talk about your life outside of school at all because that's considered educating on transness or whatever, that's like an indirect way of forcing us out of our jobs, right? As usual, we've suspected for a while their earnest desire to just not have any transgender teachers. But, oh, thank you, Governor Greg Abbott from Texas, for just straight up coming out and saying, because we've all suspected it for a while, and y'all are not smooth. He says, quote, "We want to end trans and gender nonconforming teachers." He was giving a keynote speech to the Young Conservatives of Texas, stating his intention to end trans and GNC teachers. The statement follows crackdowns on trans teachers in various Republican-controlled states. Yes. The book bans, the don't say gay stuff. Greg Abbott repeatedly refers to a trans teacher as a, quote, man dressed as a woman. And he states that the teacher's mere presence, quote, normalizes the concept of being transgender or GNC. And he asserts that the state needs to try to prohibit this. He says this kind of behavior is something we need to end in the state of Texas. If you ask a non-binary teacher their pronouns, can they just say it's classified? True. Let's see. So here's the full quote, or at least a fuller quote. Up the street from where we are right now is Lewisville, Texas. In Lewisville, Texas, in the high school recently, as in just a month ago, they had a high school teacher who was a man who would go to the school dressed as a woman in a dress, high heels, and makeup. Now, what do you think is going through the minds of the students in that classroom? Are they focusing on the subject that this person is trying to teach? I don't know. What I do know are these two things. One, is this person a man dressing as a woman in a public high school in the state of Texas? He's trying to normalize the concept that this type of behavior is okay. This type of behavior is not okay. And this is the type of the behavior that we want to make sure we end in the state of Texas. Got a little bit repetitive there for a minute there, bud. So, of course, like we said, we've known this for a while. We've known that this is intentional. Yeah, truly. What are we going to... This, like... is this a dress code issue? We're gonna have mandatory suits for women and mandatory dresses for women. Like, what is the direction that this is going in? And of course, yes, the way that he has stated this implies, this type of behavior, we want it to end in the state of Texas. He's not just talking about teachers. They, of course, like, if what they're saying is they don't want students to think that being trans is normal, which, of course, like, if you teach people that being trans is not okay, then they're less likely to be out as trans. It's not necessarily going to change whether they are trans, but it is going to change whether they're out as trans. Yeah, what a radical concept that being trans is normal. Like, genuinely, it's so strange having a thing that, like, this happened to me, I would say. Like, I didn't choose to be trans. It's like my brain just works better from a certain perspective. That's a thing that I had to work through. It's not like a thing that I chose and sought out. It's just like a thing that happened to me. And for this to be portrayed as like a societal ill that we need to keep out of our schools, like, it's like getting hard to have an emotional reaction. Sometimes I'm really upset by it, but right now I'm just like, like, what is your problem? What is wrong with you, actually, that you keep making such a big deal out of what other people are doing? Like, is it really such a societal ill if 2% of the total population is transgender? And of course, like, I guess he doesn't specify that he wants to restrict gender. I guess he's like implying that he wants to restrict gender nonconformity because, if a man went to school dressed as a woman as a joke, for example, would this be a problem? Or, like, if we had classical theater style where men were playing the roles of women, like, that's often played for comedy as well. Is that bad? If it's drama, is it bad? Like, is it only if you earnestly identify as a woman that would be a problem? Because, yeah, the implication is also that, yeah, if you want to ban gender nonconformity, where are the limits on that? Are women allowed to wear pants? Are people only allowed to wear certain colors? Like, if a man wears a pink shirt, like, if it's a pink button-down shirt with a normal collar, normal men's shirt, is that okay? But then if the collar is, like, frilly, or if it has, like, decorative embroidery on it, then it's too feminine and it's not okay? Like, what are the limits on that? It's impossible to enforce this kind of thing, and we're already seeing that this is running into First Amendment challenges with both the way that people dress and the way that people are comporting themselves. In Tennessee, they tried to pass an overall drag ban that was struck down as being basically a restriction on the freedom of expression. And similarly, in Florida, it's like considered a restriction on a teacher's freedom of speech to prevent her from self-identifying her pronouns and her name. Has there been an explicit update to Title IX explicitly protecting trans people? I haven't heard about this. I know that this has mostly been reliant on precedent in the past. Like, when these laws are working their way through, or when these cases are working through in the court system, it's usually something like, oh, if it's happening in the schools, then it's discrimination on the basis of sex to tell a trans person that they have to use XYZ bathroom. But it's cool if they've added some kind of specific trans-related protection. That's good stuff. Yeah, Aaron points out that there was a Supreme Court decision, Bostock versus Clayton County, which specifically states that Title VII protections around non-discrimination in the workplace apply to trans and gender non-conforming people. That court decision is currently being used to overturn anti-trans laws in similar Title IX cases in schools, as well as generally bathroom bans, sports bans, and more. So it's usually by the interpretation of the courts that trans people are considered protected. Like the interpretation of what does sex mean when we're talking about sex-based discrimination. Reading. Yeah, in Florida, there was this similar thing. We just covered this case of a teacher who she got a preliminary injunction on this expansion of the Don't Say Gay bill that was telling her she couldn't use her pronouns in the school. Much like Greg Abbott, the attorneys for the state of Florida argued that trans teachers in the classroom were a, quote, distraction to students, and that a trans woman teacher was harming her students' education with her mere existence and expression of her identity. However, the judge struck this down, noting that the trans woman teacher had higher test scores than the district average. And of course, it remains to be seen like how this is going to work going forward. You know, these various Republicans across the nation are going to be leaning into this anti-trans politics stuff. That has not been shown to be very popular, even amongst the Republicans. The willingness of some influential Texas Republicans to endorse Governor Abbott's position in the video suggests that these people will be leaning into the anti-trans politics this year, and obviously that could harm their candidacies. And of course, regardless of specifically electoral consequences, the state has already become harsher for trans people in recent years. Like Attorney General Ken Paxton has continued to subpoena medical records of trans individuals who cross state lines to obtain care. Also attempted to obtain lists of PFLAG members. Greg Abbott was investigating trans families across the state under the premise that providing the medical care is child abuse. And this is just a continuation, more of the same. Things have already been getting worse in Texas for trans people, and this is just trending further in that direction. Now, we're not covering today any particular proposed law. Just want to be clear, we're not having a discussion about legislation working its way through. But in Texas, they do have a tendency to do things in this roundabout we're using executive powers kind of way. So if the governor has within his power anything that he can use to, you know, put down an executive order, or if the attorney general does something, like some of these fascist actions do not require the consent of the legislative body. That's why it's so scary, and that's why we call it fascist, because, you know, we go through this process of we vote for representatives, and those representatives are supposed to vote basically based on what their constituencies want, and they often don't. But even, you know, in the case of, there have been times, I believe, even in Texas, where they tried to pass an anti-trans law through the legislation, they couldn't, and then they just went ahead and issued executive guidance. Oh, it was the child abuse one. Like, if you won't amend the parts of the law that are talking about child abuse to include trans care specifically, then we are just going to executively declare, using the Board of Medicine or whatever, that that trans healthcare is not substantiated well in the medicine, and therefore if a parent gets that care for their kid, then we're going to have an investigation. That's executive powers undermining the will of the people who were elected to represent their beliefs on writing laws were completely overridden. And that's been an ongoing story in Texas for a while. So with that precedent, knowing that that's how things have gone in Texas in the last few years, it's pretty reasonable to surmise that they will try to find some way, whether it's through legislation or through some executive action or through some court thing, that they're allowed to, like, not hire trans people or something, you know? Declare cross-dressing to be a type of perverse immorality, and then of course you can't put it in the schools, kind of thing. Like, just executively expand the definition. Yeah, it's not dissimilar, I think. Someone in chat says, I remember when the only black girl in my grade got busted for, quote, distracting clothes more often than anybody else. I still think about it. You know, why is it fundamentally distracting? I think most people, and most kids especially, just kind of get used to trans people. It might be a bit of a distraction initially, but it can't be a distraction every day. Like, with all the crap that goes on in a high school, and the fact that this is only one out of your, like, 8 different teachers, and this teacher is trying to teach you English or something, like something that's not even... It's like, oh god, here we are with the assignments again. But this teacher is actually getting the students to be more successful than the average in that district. Like, the novelty will wear off. There's no way that this can last forever. Truly, if we were to implement a policy like this, it would just result in fewer teachers. And even cis teachers are already leaving the profession because of probably mostly financial reasons, honestly. All these restrictions are just going to result in fewer teachers, more bullying, and like a worse overall society with less cohesion. I think maybe that's the end of the commentary on that particular one. I will add this one article to my notes today. One article in my notes, because I'm not doing a cast report segment today. No, sir. No, siree. I am still putting notes in my Stream Notes 2023 folder. Yeah. What is this? This is Greg Abbott. No trans teachers. Boom. Okay, we did one segment today. I'm backed up a little bit from last week, so I'll still have content for this week. Random coin slot info link. What is... Oh my god, why? Everything has just gone into disarray. What is a coin slot? Oh, there's no picture here. What is it? A coin slot is a thin piercing track that allows stacking of multiple rings and allows you to get highly creative with your styling, whereas a large gauge piercing punch is round and is best kept to wearing round jewelry only. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's... Okay. Cool. Doesn't sound like something that I would be interested in getting, but it's cool. Dali says, I'm in the minority with people I interact with as I have no piercings or tattoos, so I'm surprised that so many people put others down for having them still. I feel like I'm legit the weird one. Yeah, like, statistically, I do wonder, like, if... So, I think that these first ear piercings probably don't count, because I would say probably at least half of women, if not the majority of women, have at least this first one done. Of course, they're probably not gauged out, like mine are. Gayfesh, it's ya boy. Hello. Welcome in. I feel remorse for the fact that we are kind of probably winding down a bit. We've finished with the news for today. And now we've been talking about piercings and tattoos on and off, because I finally scheduled my next tattoo. Was there a secret meeting of every person ever where we decided that tattoos are no longer a big deal? No, there are definitely still people who are upset by them. Just vibing, it's 420 day 2. High five. So happy for everybody out there celebrating 420 part 2. But yeah, so if we were to discount these first piercing spots, do we think that we're at a point where more than half of people have additional body mods. I don't think so. I mean, more than half of adults, I should clarify. Ooh, I am starting to get hungry for some lunch. I am starting to get a little bit grumbly in my tumbly. But yes, I'm excited to get a new tattoo. I'm excited that I am succeeding in losing weight, because that means that I get to switch back to bulking soon. Which I'm very excited to do. Like, cardio is fine, but it is kind of boring. Ugh. It's fine, but it's boring. What's everybody having for dinner tonight? Ooh, 11D1 likes. I love that. I haven't decided what I'm eating for dinner yet. A lot of the time on Sundays, I either put on a pot roast in the morning, which I did intend to do, but I forgot about it until it was too late. So I guess I'll do pot roast some other day this week. I mean, shit, maybe I'll do it Wednesday, and I'll just have dinner ready for after my show. But yeah, a lot of the time we eat out on Sunday nights, but sometimes I cook anyway. Or just kind of eat whatever's around the house. My dinner is chocolate milk and a Pop-Tart. Hell yeah. Ooh, pancakes. I got the protein mix for pancakes, so anytime I make pancakes, I'm like, all right, at least this is like double plus extra protein. My mom has eventually warmed up to me having tattoos. My mom has tattoos. At least, you know, if she's still alive, which I assume she is. Gonna be eating chicken. Delicious. I have thawed some pork. And I have some chorizo. This is a random image of a coin slot tattoo. Okay, so it's a type of cartilage piercing where they just take out, like, this entire chunk of flesh. Fascinating. I don't think I want that. It doesn't sound good to me. Tattoos are scary. I'm inclined to go hard and drop $2,000 on a full arm sleeve, though. It just requires so much coordination with the artist. I've never done a tattoo that required me to, like, really work with the artist on the design. I've basically just been like, hey, I brought you something on a piece of paper that I want you to put on my body, please. And then they just put the stencil on, and then they just do the tattoo. Like, it's basically never been more complicated than that. So, I would love to get some real proper art at some point. Like I said, I'm really into the idea of, like, the tentacles on the legs. I don't know if I actually want that or not. Like, I like the idea of a mushroom tattoo, but where do you put a mushroom tattoo that it's not kind of weird? Only very elderly people worry about tattoos in my area. I've even seen doctors and lawyers with them. UVA Hospital has many young doctors with tattoos. Been like that for 10 years at least. We're gonna outnumber you. What percentage of Americans have tattoos? That's a question that I have now. What percentage of Americans have tattoos? Approximately 30% of Americans have at least one tattoo. According to some recent studies, women are slightly more likely to have tattoos than men, with around 31% of women and 27% of men having at least one tattoo. Neat. What percentage of Americans have... Hey, thank you, Dunn. Francis Dunn, thank you for the €2, £2? Something along those lines. Anyway, here's something for your work. Appreciate ya. Gift donations are always appreciated. Have piercings. I already flexed earlier. Wait, are there holographic tattoos? Absolutely not. The reason my first tattoo is not finished is that one, I moved out, and then B, the tattoo artist started ghosting me. Oh no. Gotta find someone else to finish it. Apparently 36% of Americans have a body piercing somewhere other than the earlobe. 72% of those with body piercings are women. About 14% of Americans have a piercing somewhere other than the earlobe. Yeah, like body piercing statistics is what I was curious about specifically. 2 monies, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. It finally showed up on the screen. It takes a minute. Yeah, so that's really interesting. It's interesting that it's roughly the same. Like, so if about 30% of Americans have tattoos and about 36% of Americans have body piercings, so that's anywhere other than the earlobe. Like, up here, eyebrow, belly button, whatever. That's cool. Yeah, tattooing was equally common in both sexes, but body piercing was more common for women. What's wrong, men? Are you afraid to get your nipples pierced? More men should get their nipples pierced. Mushroom tattoo on the installed PP. No, that's... I want to get medical tattooing. If I get a PP installed, I'm gonna have it given, like, photorealistic skin color tattooing on it. I've been seeing some nasty tattoos on Facebook dating. It's, like, rebellious in the opposite direction. I went into my local shop when I was busy being super high all the time, asking for the chemical symbols for THC, MDMA, LCD, and psilocybin. My artists asked me to come back sober. Glad he didn't just want my $300. Yeah, when they're looking out for you, that's always good. They're looking out for you. They're like, maybe you won't want these tattoos if you stop being high all the time. Maybe get your shit together a little bit. Oh, LSD, not LCD. Okay, I was just reading. I'm scared of getting the nips pierced. Listen, I don't want to get my nips pierced. I'm saying more men should get their nips pierced. More Prince Alberts out there in the world. Want to get the nips done again once E gives me booba? Are you not supposed to get them re-pierced? I guess it's just tricky to get them re-pierced. Yeah, the Prince Albert is a dick piercing. The clamp is the problem. Don't fear the needle. Listen, I'm not out here volunteering to get genital piercings, okay? None of my erogenous zones need a piercing. Where does pussy piercing go, or what is it called? It's usually like a clitoral hood piercing. So you've got like the loose foreskin on the clitoris, and generally it's like, it'll be like a hoop or maybe a bar put through that loose skin. So it's like above the clit, essentially. Like, that's the most common one anyway. Nips, nips, pierced nips. The absurd things that we talk about. At least I was clear in the title of the stream today. Like, and cast report and chill. Absolutely more chill. Even as someone who possesses a dick, which is not my favorite part of me, piercing it seems mean. He's just a guy who lives down there. Oh no. The nip piercings ended nip chafing for me. They acted like strain relief. Yeah, they keep the shirt off your nips. Now we need a nips icon to complete the trifecta. Dicks, pussy, nips. I wish that I could figure out why the pussy one is not I don't know why it's not animated. Like, it was sent to me animated, and for some reason the website is just like, nope, not animated. You know what's really interesting, just since we've been talking about bottom surgery and stuff lately, um, I imagine if I had phalloplasty that my new brand new peepee would be a she. I think of it as a she. I'm like, she's gonna be cute. I tried to upload it in multiple different image formats and it didn't work in any of them. So I don't know. Maybe I'll maybe mess with it at some point. A shiwi, true. My shiwi. Considering getting nipple piercings once I get the breast augmentation. I mean, the one thing is that even if you take them out, because of the scar tissue, it basically makes your nips look like they're always hard, which could be good for like people who do sex work or something. I don't know. I feel like mine are too sensitive. I'm like, nope, don't want piercings. A sheenus. Oh my god. So cursed. This chat today is so cursed. A sheenus. God damn it. The gawk. True, it's the gawk. As someone who doesn't have boobs, don't nip piercings mess with bras and whatnot? I mean, it's you pretty much like can't wear a bra for a little while after you get your nips pierced, but then after they heal, it's probably fine. I got my nips pierced so they would be sensitive again. Like, yeah, I don't want anything that's going to increase the sensitivity at this point in my life. Penelope Peewee. My sisters got infected, grossest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, like if they got infected, it would be so gnarly. I lost my nips as a result of top surgery, so shrug on nip piercings. Hey, you know what? Mad respect. I've seen people who are like, I wanted to get them re-pierced, but I couldn't get them re-pierced. Like, making top surgery, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. The piercings show through on clothing on dudes wearing the old t-shirt one layer. Yeah. I think if you have boobs and you're not wearing a bra, then your nipple piercings are visible, like at all times, basically. My nips are salami slices after top surgery. I don't know if I could get nip piercings. Yeah, you definitely have to work with your artist for sure. Okay, everybody, I'm hungry. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours. I ate a little bit before stream, but I am ready to eat lunch and edit videos from this week. So, hungry. So, thank you all for joining me, for hanging out. I'm gonna go rest my voice a little bit, and I will see you all on Wednesday. When it will be, what day will it be on Wednesday? On Wednesday, it will be 4/24. All right. Have fun out there. Good luck. And don't get in trouble.